nutritious meal, and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your flap. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds. And most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days, they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks and Speedy Beatty.
You're not even a has-been.
You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was. It is December, ladies and gentlemen. December 1st, 2022. Christmas around the corner. Thanksgiving over. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You are listening to the Sports Loudmouths. Check out our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speedy Petey, what's up, man?
Well, I'd like to dedicate my show to my grandfather that passed away last year. It's a 1 year since his passing. December 1st, a rough day in our family, especially on my dad's side too. So doing this show and all my shows in honor of him tonight.
Well, I loved your grandfather. He was a great person, very nice to me, and a big sports fan, and he will be missed, as always. Very, very kind and collective guy who knew his sport. So a guy that was very proud of you, of all the hard work and dedication that you put into this and really your career, and you're moving on, and I believe you'll be very successful moving forward in your career. So may he rest in peace. Good old grandpa.
Thank you.
9:30, we'll be talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. He's been on a show one time about a year ago, and he loved coming on the show, and he's going to be showing up and giving us his take on what's going on in the NFL so far this season. At 10 o'clock, we will be speaking to our very good friend, a guy that doesn't need any applause. We will be talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst, Pete Bercich. And I'll tell you this right now, Pete has a lot of explaining to do, and we will get into it when he gets on the show, when he approaches and appears on the show at 10 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sure he's ready to ruffle your feathers.
I'm sure he is, as the New York Jets have a chance to really ruffle his on Sunday. So I'm excited to have Pete on the show. He will be analyzing it live and in color on TV and on radio on Sunday, so that'll be fun. We're going to get into Odell Beckham, as he is down to 3 teams. The Giants, which he visited the other day, the Bills, and the Cowboys. And he already came out and said he is not working out for any of them. So they're just going to have to trust that his leg is 100%. So it's very interesting, and it's down to 3 teams, and he'll probably make a decision sometime at the end of the week. LeBron James attacks Jerry Jones' segregation photo from about 60 years ago. LeBron James, who, has nothing to say about Kyrie Irving, his anti-Semitic thoughts, but obviously has something to do and something to argue about Jerry Jones and his segregation when he was 14 years old. A photo with him. Obviously, he was raised differently at that time. It's a different world. And I don't believe Jerry Jones believes in that whole segregation thing now that he is owning a team and obviously is behind everything that happened with Black Lives Matter. So I don't understand how LeBron James wants to put his 2 cents into a photo that is about 60 years old, but we'll get into that. Yankees and Giants
50-50 on obviously landing Aaron Judge. So it's really down to these two teams, the Giants and the Yankees. So we'll get into that. Sean Payton predicts a huge change in the NFL draft system in the very near future. So Sean Payton was on a podcast last night or yesterday and spoke about his thoughts on the way the NFL will be going when it comes to the NFL draft in very, very near future, in a very, very near future. And Antonio Brown refusing to leave his home as the police attempt to serve him arrest warrant papers for domestic violence. So Antonio Brown, of course, is in the tabloids as always, and it just keeps on ticking. So why don't we get into Antonio Brown, because this is a story that just intrigues everybody. And the reason why it intrigues everything that Antonio Brown has done over the years is because this guy doesn't like to get out of the spotlight. Everything this man does has something to do with either the tabloids, something to do with the newspapers, stories. I don't know if he has brain trauma or CTE for all those hits he had over the years playing football. I don't know. And I'm not going to assume anything that I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I am in the medical field in some understanding, but I am not a doctor or nurse. But this story is definitely going to grow legs. As everybody knows, his final game on a football field was at MetLife Stadium. When he decided, because he told his coach, supposedly, that he wasn't 100%, that he does not want to get back on the field, Bruce Arians screamed at him and said, either you get back on the field or you will never step on this field again as long as I'm the head coach of this team. And what happens? He decides to obviously take off his pads, his jersey, and practically strip and run off MetLife Stadium, run off the MetLife Stadium field with practically nothing on besides his pants. And then he speaks out on obviously different shows, sports shows, HBO, taking shots at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wanting to sue the Buccaneers and then wanting to sue the NFL. Obviously didn't win. Then the story is coming out that he was sleeping with prostitutes and strippers, and there's video, and he posted all over social media. And now this. Antonio Brown refusing to leave his home as the police attempt to serve an arrest warrant for domestic violence. And I'll read this story quickly because there's not much about it. Nobody knows, and I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, he's still in his home. He wasn't arrested yet. What is the police going to do? Are they going to kick down the door and arrest this guy? Things are getting crazy in the case of Antonio Brown, as it reports indicated he is refusing to leave his house as Tampa police attempt to serve him an arrest warrant. According to Fox 13 in Tampa, the wideout has been locked up in South Tampa home while the Tampa Bay Police Department wait outside and attempt to serve an arrest warrant for domestic violence. ABC Action News is also on the scene, and they've reported that the police have attempted to use a megaphone to get Antonio Brown out of the house. They have also called AB's attorney and informed the troubled wideout that they're not going anywhere so far, and none of it is worked. None of it has worked. So what we understand right now with Antonio Brown is the man is out of control. The man thinks or has decided that he wanted to lock himself into the house because he believes he is not at fault for this domestic violent dispute and this arrest warrant. I have no idea how this story begun or how it's going to end. What I do know is something is majorly wrong with this guy. Something is not ticking in this guy's brain. Something hasn't ticked in this guy's brain for the last couple of years. This guy was one of the great wide receivers in the last 10 years. There might have been 2 or 3 wideouts that you can compare to his skill and his ability over the last 10 years. And practically half of them are going, or all of them are going to the Hall of Fame, besides this one.
Yep.
This guy is out of control, absolutely insane. He's been hit way too much in the head. He attacked Tom Brady over the last couple of months, attacking him with his wife. He was sending pictures, taking pictures of naked pictures. I'm sorry. He has pictures of his wife naked. He was posting on Twitter. I mean, this man, hasn't he done enough? Hasn't he ruined other people's lives enough? This guy, I think it was last summer, rented a house, I don't remember where, and completely demolished the house that he had to buy it. He had to actually pay the owners for the house that he absolutely self-destructed by him and his entourage.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think that was in Miami. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Did that go along with already this issue, which now there's police are searching for guns in his house, too. This is not
I mean, this guy is so out of control. I mean, every single week, every single month, there's a story after a story after a story about this guy.
This is stemming all from 5 years, too. Ever since that 2018, the end of that 2018 season. Don't forget, he skipped that game when he was he didn't show up to practice against the Saints. It was a big game at the end of the year, at the end of the 2018 season. Mike Tomlin suspended him. 2019, there was the whole, I didn't want to be traded to the Bills debacle. Then he gets traded to the Raiders, takes shots at Mike Mayock, John Gruden and all that stuff. And then there was the whole Patriots saga. And then there was the Tom Brady issues last year, the Buccaneers, all that.
I mean, just think about it.
Just think about it.
Just think about it here. If you look at this guy, and like I said, he was one of the best wide receivers in the last 10 years. And we're not looking at his career and what he's done on the field. We're looking at him off the field. How about the different social medias that he was posting in the locker room, getting himself in trouble with the Pittsburgh Steelers? One of the reasons why the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to part ways with him, because of the whole TikTok / I don't know, Instagram crap in the playoffs that he was posting.
Yeah, that was Facebook Live when Facebook Live first came out. And they were trying to rattle the Patriots. Meanwhile, you don't want to give that kind of target to Bill Belichick.
And then you look at who he is as a person. And obviously the man doesn't know if he's alive or dead. I don't know how you can compare Antonio Brown to any player we've ever seen in the NFL, honestly. And I do believe he has a lot of head trauma. And I do believe when they investigate all these different things that he has been going through over the last couple of years, and maybe he'll do something even more crazier, hopefully not, which will get him thrown into jail or something of that magnitude, then we'll realize we all remember the Aaron Hernandez thing and what a sad situation that was with the New England Patriots and the facts and all the stories coming out after he hung himself in jail. And he lost his life after killing possibly 3 people, not 1, but 3 people, 2 that he was not obviously convicted for.
Right.
But the one was Odom Lloyd, who was murdered by him, and that was one of his good friends and his fiance's sister's boyfriend. And then you've heard the stories, and they obviously investigated the CTE problems, and they investigated his brain, and they saw that this man had practically half a brain by the time he was in his 4th year of playing football. The kid was 25, 26 years old when he lost his life, and he had a very high, I think, what do they call it? Grade 1
when it came to CTE problems in his brain.
And what Jeff was saying a couple of years ago when this all came out, he said it was the most severe case they ever
It
found.
wasn't
in a
grade 1.
player.
I'm sorry. It's grade 4.
Yeah.
They graded higher to lower.
Okay.
So
Yeah. But remember, Jeff was saying it was the most severe case they found in any player. Even some of the older ones that were investigated when concussion came out in the movie, even Mike Webster and those guys. Aaron Hernandez was even more severe. Now, when he died later in that whole process because he was in jail too. So it didn't come as suddenly as something like Mike Webster, who died in 2001.
he was trying to make sure that his wife or his fiance and his daughter were going to get the money that the Patriots were going to give him. And the only way they were going to get it if he was dead.
Yeah.
And obviously the Patriots figured out a way to get out of that. But so his death really didn't help the situation for what it was, but that's a whole nother story. This Antonio Brown thing is just so astonishing, so crazy, so weird. I can't explain it. I don't know what to say about this guy. I feel bad for him. I really do, because as good of a player that he is, I've heard throughout the grapevine and some players that we've interviewed over the last couple of years say that Antonio Brown is a nice guy. He is a good-hearted soul. But ever since he became that superstar, and maybe it was the perfect hit in the playoffs where he got knocked the hell out, where he claimed he saw birdies flying over his head. Maybe that was the hit that really self-destructed who he is as a player off the field.
Then again, Vontaze Burfict also said that Antonio Brown was doing an acting job when he got that hit. So I don't know how much you could necessarily trust.
Oh, he hit him.
His sources. No, I'm not saying it was a clean hit. I'm just saying he hit him hard enough where Burfict, I think they said Brown gave him a thumbs up or something like that.
He hit him hard.
I know.
Speedy.
I know.
That was a hard hit. I remember that.
Yeah, of course.
You heard the bang when he hit him, and that was a cheap shot by Vontaze Burfict.
Without question.
But nevertheless, I remember that. I remember that hit. And I remember a lot of different hits that he obviously got torn up on the field because of. But again, we don't know the truth. We don't know what's going on in his head. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors with his family life. I don't know. And it seems like he loves being in front of the cameras. He loves being on the radio. He loves being in the tabloids. And it doesn't really help him. Speaking out on Tom Brady, one of the more respectable players in the NFL, one of the guys that people look up to, some people call the GOAT. When you speak out and you're attacking a guy that already is dealing with enough stuff on and off the field with his wife, his kids, and his career, nobody wants to hear what you have to say, especially when you're a guy that doesn't have such a clean background off the field.
Right. And you would think if he knew about that kind of thing, he would try to do something else and try to be more positive about that. And no, he's just doing other weird things.
It's an embarrassment.
It's like the 6th time in the last 6 years we've seen some kind of incident with him. Again, 4 different teams already now that have been the case, including a team in the Buffalo Bills that didn't even get traded to because he didn't want to play there. And then the whole Raiders debacle, the Buccaneers debacle, they all have just sour endings. And the Steelers, think about that. They were in a playoff race and he decided not to play against the Saints, a good team, in a week 16 game.
I can't sit here and make any excuses for this guy. I can't. And again, going back to his past and what he has done on the field, he was a fantastic talent. He really was. And for anybody to sit here and deny that, he is a borderline Hall of Famer. But for everything that's happened on and off the field, not playing football, you have to look at it. And I believe the committee is going to look at it. And he's never going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because of it. We've seen this with Terrell Owens, and Terrell Owens wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. That pissed him off. He doesn't show up the second year when he gets inducted to the Hall of Fame. Randy Moss, where a lot of people thought was not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, he becomes a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then T.O. was obviously upset about that because he thought he was a better player, which he was.
I thought he was too, yeah.
And now this. Antonio Brown, I wouldn't say is in the same boat as a Terrell Owens, but he's very close to Randy Moss. His numbers are very close to Randy Moss's. That's how good Antonio Brown was. For a 7-8 year span, I would say 5 out of those 7 or 8 years, he was the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, probably 2012 to 2017 was that. That was to the peak of him. 2010, 2011, it took him a while to get going because he was kind of a third receiver, second receiver type when they still had Mike Wallace there and guys like that. But yeah, those 5 years, so 6 years, he was the best statistical receiver. Skill wise, you could probably argue Julio Jones and Calvin Johnson too. And guys
Just
like
think
that,
about
but,
this, Speedy.
yeah.
Just think about this. For all the good things he's done on the field, I think I've remembered more of the bad things he's done off the field.
Yeah, of course.
So he has done so many great things on the field, but I forget all about those things because it's a complete disaster off the field for this guy. Everywhere he goes, everything he does, every person he hangs out with, the people that he puts himself around, not his family, his friends, his clan, or whatever the hell he calls them. They're an absolute embarrassment, and he is an absolute embarrassment to the league, his teammates, and everybody that rooted for him, everybody that thought he was going to be a Hall of Fame talent. And I'm telling you, Mike Tomlin, who is very well respected around the league, I'm surprised Mike Tomlin isn't reaching out to this guy and trying to help him. I know he's got his own team to worry about right now, but this is a guy that raised Antonio Brown. He was there from the beginning. He helped this kid grow, helped this kid develop into the player that he is. And he's all about, team concepts. And Antonio Brown, as much as he ran himself out of Pittsburgh, was very loved by Mike Tomlin. So I'm very surprised Mike Tomlin, after hearing this and hearing all these crazy stories with the strippers and porno stars and all the crazy stuff, and then taking shots at Tom Brady after over and over and over again. What did Tom Brady do to Antonio Brown? I mean, seriously, he's the only reason why he got another job in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
It was Tom Brady. Tom Brady talked and spoke to Bruce Arians and told him, please let this guy, make this team, bring him back, into the NFL. And I'm going to, transition this team into that Super Bowl contender. We need players like Antonio Brown. But of course, Antonio Brown, over the last 3 years, has been an absolute embarrassment.
Yeah, you actually forgot.
I want to apologize to all the fans. I'm a little congested, so I am coughing a little bit, but I'm trying to keep my throat at least a little bit wet so I can get through this 3-hour show and give you a great show, and we have a great show lined up for you guys. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I forgot about the Bruce Arians thing too. Remember, he stormed off the field against the Jets too. He was also saying, "Oh, Bruce Arians wouldn't let me take this, and the doctors wouldn't let me take this this medication that they either didn't have or didn't exist." We believed him for a while, but then they found out he was making it up, and there's that whole saga too. So that's like 7 different things in a span of 6 years that Brown has been involved in.
And then there's Odell Beckham. And we spoke about Odell Beckham yesterday. Odell Beckham is a guy that I believe can change one of these three organizations moving forward for the rest of the season. I think he fits best with the Giants. The Giants need a number one wide receiver. Adding a wide receiver this caliber balances out the offense from Saquon Barkley, and then you add a weapon like this, it will open up the field. It'll maybe open up the field more for Saquon Barkley to be more of that power back that he wants to be, not more of that finesse. I'm going to pitch him the ball on the outside where he's going to have to run and put himself at risk to hurt himself or his hamstrings or his quads. I think bringing Odell Beckham will also open up the offense for guys like Slayton, who is Darius Slayton has turned into a pretty good player for the Giants. I don't think he's a number one. He's a pretty good number 2. So you bring Odell Beckham, that will open up the offense. It will help Daniel Jones out. It'll take pressure off the offensive line. It makes a lot of sense for the Giants.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for Odell, too, because if he wants to get another contract, that's a pretty good contract. Now, he's not going to get something like massive. He might get $15 million a year or something like that for 3 more years because he's an older receiver. But if he wants to get another good contract, you want to be able to show yourself as a number one receiver, too, which the Giants give you the best chance to do that because Darius Slayton's their next best receiver. And yeah, like you were saying, he's like probably a okay 2 at best, and he's better in the slot, too. So Odell could play in the outside.
Then there's the Bills. And we look at the Bills, obviously Diggs, Davis, they have no running game. They depend too much on Josh Allen's arm or his legs when he moves outside of the pocket. The offensive line is banged up. The defensive line is banged up. Von Miller came back tonight. They're playing against the Patriots. This is a big game for both teams. They're one of the worst red zone teams so far in the last 6 games of this season. You're talking about Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis, who's he's a very good player. Last year was one of the best red zone players in the league. This year, not quite. Diggs he's really been the only decent red zone player besides Knox on this team. So adding Odell Beckham, who's a great red zone player. Last year you saw him with the Rams. You saw him in the Super Bowl. You saw him when he obviously was traded to the Rams. You look at the big picture right now, it makes a lot of sense for Odell Beckham to go to the Bills too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look how much it opened up for Kupp too in those playoffs. Imagine what it could do for Diggs too.
As I have said in the last 6 games of this season, the Bills are the worst red zone team in the league in the last 6 games. That's not good for a talented defense and a talented offense of the Buffalo Bills. The favorites are coming out of the AFC before the season started. Everybody had the Buffalo Bills, including yours truly. I believe that this team had everything, but this year, they haven't had that red zone stopper. They haven't had that red zone guy that can absolutely stick it down every team's throats. And bringing Odell Beckham in, that gives him that talent. That gives him that beast of a man in that red zone. And then the Dallas Cowboys, or what we say, the Dallas Cowgirls. A team that has tremendous talent. Pollard and Zeke have been a great duo. They really have. This year, they've been one of the best duos in the NFL if they could stay on the field together. Zeke hasn't been healthy really for at least 4 games this year. But when he is on the field, he's electrifying. Pollard has been great. The offensive line has been a lot better than anybody thought with all the injuries that they've had and the losses that they had in the offseason and free agency. Their defense is, if not the best defense in the league, it's a top 3 defense in every single category. It is elite. And Dak Prescott, better than Cooper. Yes, Cooper Rush. He has been efficient and helped this team grow in the last couple of weeks. Adding Odell Beckham to that wide receiving core with obviously Gallup and CeeDee Lamb would be absolutely explosive. And will give the Cowboys that lift where people are going to say, being that there's 5 games left of the season before the playoffs, they could be a Super Bowl contender with Odell Beckham as their number 1 guy.
And they're done. Mike McCarthy's done a great job throughout his career with 3 receiver sets too. So you had Odell who could move in the slot and outside as well.
It makes a lot of sense. It really does. Where do I think he's going? I think it's either the Cowboys or the Giants. I can't see the Bills. As much as I think he fits the best with the Bills, because if the Bills add Odell Beckham, I think it's signed, sealed, and delivered that they're going to the AFC title game. Even without a running game, you can do so many things with Odell Beckham. You can use him as a running back in a package. You could do so many things with him because of his speed and his ability to run different routes. So it makes a lot of sense. But I don't think the Bills are going to really bite on this. I think it's the Cowboys or the Giants. More than likely the Cowboys. I know he loves the Giants. I know he loves the Giant fans. He never wanted to leave the New York Giants. It was all Dave Gettleman. But I think in the end, Jerry Jones is going to give him the better extension. He's going to give him more money. And obviously, Jerry likes to look at that shiny little penny.
That's right.
And that is Odell Beckham. When we come back, we'll be talking to NFL Network's newsroom ticker operator and writer, Brendan Walker, here on the Sports Lab Mounts.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and you are listening to the Sports Loudmouth. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week. You could be listening to the Sports Loudmouths every Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 9 p.m. It's a 3-hour show. We get great guests, great different personalities that come on the show, and really great content in all the shows. Trey, obviously the Wise Guys that was on before us. We have, a Buffalo Bills show, a Jets show. We have a MMA show. We have all shows throughout the country on this network. We are one of the first digital profile networks that have been around. We've been around for almost 9 years now. And we'd like to thank all the fans that support everything that we do and moving forward for what we do here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And we have our guest. He's been on our show before. We loved him the last time. And why not bring him on again? We are now talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer, Brendan Walker. Brandon, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you guys hear me all right? Is the audio good?
We hear you. You sound
Perfect.
great. How are you feeling since the last time you've been on the show?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm kind of just like you. I got over some sickness last week. So I'm kind of just in the I don't have any allergies, but it feels like it just kind of my nose and then just
I can't get rid of this cough. I mean, I'm feeling better. I've been sneezing a little bit of allergies, but for some reason, I can't get rid of this cough. Everybody says, well, you could have had COVID. I didn't have COVID. I took how many tests? 4 or 5 tests. I'm fine. But I had a cold, which then got into my lungs, which eventually became a cough and congestion. And I haven't been the same, but I'm fighting it, and I'm still giving you guys a show. So just bear with me. I'm trying to keep my throat wet, if that sounds right on radio. But I'm just trying to get through the show, as always. But why don't we get into it? This whole Antonio Brown thing is so interesting, and it becomes such a mishmash. And it's such a weird, that the way I present it, it's a mishmash because I don't know if his brain is categorized or it's not ticking right. This man has done so many weird things on and off the field. He really has. He's a fantastic talent. I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he'll ever get into the Hall of Fame because I don't know what a committee is going to vote this crazy, in the Hall of Fame for all the stupid things he's done on and off the field. But now you're hearing this. I mean, what more do you need to hear with this guy? Does he need to be thrown into jail? Does somebody need to, strap him up to a chair and feed him something or feed him some pills to calm this guy down? Because this guy is just uncontrollable, Brendan. What are your thoughts to this story?
Oh, yeah, I heard a little bit about you guys talking about him just earlier. And, dude, this guy, Antonio Brown, like you said, he's been one of the best wide receivers in the past decade. And everything that he's gone through, I'm surprised there just isn't – I can't help but feel bad because I don't know if there's, anybody reaching out to him or if he has help or if he doesn't want help, whatever he's going through. Dude, you just mentioned the Hall of Fame. In terms of the Hall of Fame, T.O. didn't get in because people didn't like his personality. If that's the case, and we're comparing them to each other, I don't think Antonio Brown would ever get in based on that, category. I see what's going on in the news. I do feel bad for him. It's just kind of like, it's a little bit out of my thing because at work we see it happening, but like we're not really reporting on it just because it's just kind of like it's a sensitive topic. But we do, like, he is a former player, so we kind of have to look on it. In my opinion, I think he's gone through it, and the Vontaze Burfict thing is for sure one of the main things people like point towards is like the cause of it all. It could have been that. It could have just been a buildup. Nothing. Everything's like a question mark, really. But I don't know. Antonio Brown, I feel bad for him, man. Hopefully he recovers. But wild stuff going on in the news right now.
So one thing I know you guys have been definitely tracking at NFL Network is where Odell Beckham is going to go. And we just listed the 3 teams he's been visiting. He visited the Giants today, and then the Bills he'll go to tomorrow. So where do you think he'll end up going, and where do you think he'll be the best fit for him? I know you're an Eagles fan, so I know you're not going to want them in the NFC East, but where do you think he ends up going?
Personally, if I had to pick between the 3 teams I think he's going to, I would say the Cowboys. I think it fits him, his lifestyle the most. I think the Bills would probably be the best team and probably the best overall talent to get him a legacy ring, which is what he's all about, legacy. But if he went to Dallas, it's kind of a perfect fit. I don't think he likes playing in cold weather. I think, he was with the Giants, but he moved to, he was in LA. He won a ring with LA. I think he's more of like the star type of player. I know Vaughn's heavily recruiting him to the Bills. I think the Cowboys would be like his thing to just go there. Amari Cooper is gone. He can kind of fit that role in a sense and become an actual star. Not to do a play on words with Dallas.
We are talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. The Jets are a team that everybody is talking about. And you look at, obviously, Zach Wilson. You saw his face on the sideline on Sunday. Mike White's becoming now again a superstar for the New York Jets. It seems like this team really is backing him up. They're all for this kid. They want this kid to be their starting quarterback. Zach Wilson lost his job in 1 week because he didn't take responsibility for the loss when he lost against New England Patriots in New England. Now, you look at the big picture now, Brandon. You look at the Jets. If they go into Minnesota this week, which a lot of people have them winning, if they go into Minnesota and knock off this pretty good, and I say pretty good because even though they're 9-2, who have they beaten? And really, in the division that they're in, are you really taking them seriously yet? But if they go into Minnesota and knock off the Vikings, and Mike White is a guy that throws 2 to 3 touchdowns, close to 300 yards, that might be the end of Zach Wilson and his existence with the New York Jets. What are your thoughts to that?
I think Mike White is actually incredible. I think he's done really well in the position that he's in. Last year, he took advantage of the opportunity, and so he got the start after his beating. He beat the Bengals. This is kind of the same situation where he might go into Minnesota and beat a good team on paper, and kind of finish the way. He kind of got injured, and so his reign was stopped last year because of that. But he's back, and he's not. I'm still on fire with the Jets. He's white hot right now. He's going crazy.
He's white hot.
Yeah, he's white hot. The locker room loves him. What's being reported and what's being behind the scenes, everybody loves the dude. Meanwhile, everybody's dogging on Zach, for his demeanor in the locker room. And if the Jets went into Minnesota, if they beat the Vikings, I would say it's probably because of the defense, because they would hold that Vikings offense in check. But more so, if White got in there, did his thing, that would be. Personally, I'd be shocked because the Jets are a team I'm not super confident in, and I know the Vikings on paper, the schedule wise, and the top dogs don't play each other all the time. But I think the Jets would make a statement rather that game if they beat the Vikings.
Vikings are doing just fine, except for the NFC East. The three worst games of the season have come there. So another guy that's been disgruntled with the Jets that came out late last night was James Robinson, who was a healthy scratch in the game against the Bears. It was very surprising. They make a trade for him. They trade a 5th-round pick away or a 6th-round pick that could become a 5th. So are you surprised that they didn't give him that kind of chance with now Breece Hall being hurt and all the other injuries they've had in the controversy with Zach Wilson too?
I think with everything they've been dealing with so far, it was more so like hey, we believe in this guy, like they believed in White, and they just kind of stuck with it. I don't think it was anything like towards James Robinson, really. I think he just got the bad draw, bad stick, and gave Michael Carter all the way. And I think the team's just doing fine without him, really. Like they made the trade for him to be the guy, to be the replacement, but I don't think anybody could replace Breece Hall's talent personally. I think Mike White replacing Zach Wilson has made an effect, but running back wise, I think they're fine with the committee they got. They're fine with the other pieces around them. I think they'll be just fine.
And what's so interesting about that is they gave Bam Knight an opportunity, and a lot of people like Bam in the preseason. A lot of people thought he was the best running back out of all of them, Breece Hall and Michael Carter in the preseason. A little bit that we saw Bam, and then he went through waivers. The Jets got him back. They put him on as a red shirt, as a practice squad player. He's played so well in the practices, and they say, you know what, we're going to give you a shot. James Robinson needs to still learn the offense, and they gave Bam an opportunity on Sunday. He ran the ball very well. He ran it over 60 yards. Caught the ball for a little bit over 30 some odd yards. He was very efficient. And I still think James Robinson, he is definitely going to suit up this week because of Michael Carter's injury, the high ankle sprain. He could be out a couple of weeks. They're definitely going to make sure that Michael Carter is healthy for the playoffs. But Bam, he's an efficient running back and definitely a weapon, and a weapon that Jets control. And even next year, if they decide to part ways with James, Bam is an absolute beast of a man. And I think he can absolutely be a starting running back in the NFL if some team gives him a chance. So I love the move with Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh has taken a lot of chances. He's been taking receipts, and his receipts have been right. Everything that he's done has been right. Mike White coming in over Zach Wilson was a right move. Michael Carter being hurt, bringing in Bam over James, I think it was a good move. A lot of the moves that he has made, making Max Mitchell his starting right tackle before he got hurt, was the right move after George Font. And everything that's been falling and fitting together has been the right move for the New York Jets. We are talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. So the New York Giants, and I'll sit here and I think it's like a wave, okay? If you were surfing a big wave right now, sometimes you hit that wave and you flatline, you fall off that wave. And right now, the New York Giants have fallen and they flatlined on that wave. And they haven't played well in the last couple of weeks. A lot of people want to point fingers at the quarterback play. I don't believe it's the quarterback. They have no weapons to throw out. They have a bunch of guys. Who are they? I mean, they lose Robinson for the season. He was a second-round draft pick, so overrated. They overpaid Kenny Golladay. Thank you, Gettleman. He's gone, and Kenny Golladay hasn't stepped on the field since Dable has taken over. And yes, Slayton has become a good player, but he is not an elite player. He's not a number one. He's more of a number two, number three. They've got nothing. All they've got is a healthy Saquon Barkley. That is it. So what is it with this team? Is Dable really that good of a coach? Does this team still have a chance of making the playoffs, even with the injuries that they have? And by the way, no receivers to throw at?
I think what you're heading towards saying is that the Giants right now overall are an average team. They're turning into what's being now 7-4. Riding on the high at the beginning of the season, possibly a favorite schedule, as does the rest of the NFC East. But a lot of people were high, like on Brian Dable going in. He's leading the team, he's leading the charge. New head coach, all that stuff, and then they've fallen off. And I think it's because the lack of talent. You're listing the wide receiver core; it's just not elite. I think they're just very average on defense too. Like, people will make plays every now and then, but it's this team's kind of like a flip of the coin. Like, they're either gonna be great, or they're either just gonna sink. And right now they're in the 6th spot, but the Commanders are rising up against them, and they're hot. So, I mean, Giants need to step it up right now.
Taylor Henneke, baby. It is all about the Hankster. That's what I'm talking about. It's not Carson Wentz. It's not the Commanders and their stupidity of names that they put out there. No. It is Taylor Henneke. Who would have thought that Taylor Henneke has become an overnight superstar? I don't know what I'm talking about, but I have lost my mind. But Taylor Henneke has not lost a game since he's taken over for the last couple of weeks. So it's been unbelievable. He's been sensational. And the numbers don't really stick out. It really doesn't. I don't think his numbers are like 213 yards, 198. It's not something but the team believes in him. The team trusts in him. And I think he's the starting quarterback moving forward for this team. And if somehow they could sneak into the playoffs again like they did, I don't know, last year, it would be pretty amazing. It really would.
If they don't give him the shot now, I don't know when they ever will, honestly.
So let's go to Carson Wentz's former team, your Philadelphia Eagles. 10-1 right now, best
My
record.
second team, baby.
Errol's second team as well.
I'm a Donovan McNabb fan. I hung out with him in Miami for the Super Bowl. Over the years, I'm a Jet fan, and everybody knows I'm a Jet fan. But I have been so hard on the Jets. They never make the playoffs, and they never made the playoffs when Donovan McNabb was playing in the league. So my second favorite team was the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they never won. At least I had the experience.
They made 6 straight NFC championship games.
And they went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They did lose against the Patriots, which really made me want to throw up. But nevertheless, I experienced something with them, and then I watched them win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, so I was happy about that. I am a Jet fan, diehard. If it was the Jets or the Eagles, it's the Jets. But I was very happy to see them win a Super Bowl finally a couple of years ago. But go ahead.
So my question is, were you expecting them to be this good at the beginning of the year? Because they're a pretty well-rounded team. And if you see a flaw in the Eagles in terms of being, even though they're 10-1 right now, what do you think it would be their biggest issue?
Oh boy. I did expect them to perform better than the year prior. I don't know how of a hot start they would have, but I think I wanted them to succeed. They certainly have. It's because of the offseason that they had a lot of pieces. Obviously, you talk about Howie Roseman fleecing people sometimes for pieces to put around. They've got a lot of talent, and it's being shown. If there was a hole on the team right now, it would be just the injuries that have happened because they've been fairly healthy overall. The biggest one is Chauncey, the safety. I think the safety issue is a little bit tough. I mean, Reed Blankenship looked great, picking up Aaron Rodgers, all that. But I think safety is kind of a big issue. Cornerbacks are pretty solid in Bradbury Slay. That's top tier. Linebackers are pretty good right now, serviceable, and Jordan Davis is coming back. So the whole D-line is like really good. In terms of a whole safety offense, I don't really see an issue unless somebody gets injured. That's it. They've been really healthy, and that's kind of the tale every year is which team is staying healthy, and that kind of puts them in the playoff run and sometimes the Super Bowl.
I think the MVP of the league is Jalen Hurts, and I think he's been fantastic. For everybody that was throwing him under the bus, saying that, the Eagles have 2 first-round draft picks this year. They're giving up on him. If this guy doesn't show up this year, they're going to walk away from him, and they're going to move up and get the quarterback of their pickings. And by the way, they have a pretty high pick this year because they have the Saints pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a chance to get possibly right now, if the season were to end, I think the Saints are picking at 6 or 7, which they could get a quarterback at 6 or 7. And if they want to take their other first round draft pick and move up even faster, they can get any quarterback they really want. So I think Jalen Hurts is the guy. This team is only going to get better in the offseason with the draft stock that they have. I mean, it's ridiculous where this team is going, and they have arguably the coach of the year. They have the GM of the year. I mean, they're having a sensational year. They deserve all the credit. And I give a lot of respect to Rosen and what he has done over the last couple of years rebuilding. And thank you, Mr. Rosen, for such a great GM in, yes, our GM, Mr. Douglas. So I am not upset right now for both my teams. We're very well run from the GM to the coach area. So
You could thank
I'm
him
not
for Nate
hurt.
Herbig too.
Yes, by the way, thank you for giving us Herbig, who is one of the more efficient guards right now in the NFL. So, and he's going to make a lot of money in the offseason. Maybe not from the Jets, but somebody is going to pay him a lot of money for the season that he's having. It's been sensational for the New York Jets. As everybody knows, we are talking to NFL Network's newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. You look at this season, there's so many highs and a lot of lows. And teams that we thought were going to be good, the Raiders, oh my God, they've been horrible. The Broncos, I mean, you have, I don't know, you have a quarterback that doesn't know where the hell he is anymore. I guess he feels that his ass right now is in Seattle and his body's over there in Denver. I don't know what he's thinking. He's getting yelled at by his defensive players. He just got a $250 million contract. He's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and just an absolute bust right now. The Broncos are probably praying and wishing that they didn't make that trade because right now they're put in, salary cap hell. They have no future. I mean, and Seattle's just laughing to the bank. We got Geno Smith. We now have an efficient offensive line. Next year, we have the Broncos' first-round draft pick, which is probably going to be number 3 or number 2.
Oh, Will Anderson's heads of the Seahawks.
We're flying in a great position. So, I mean, who's really upset right now? It's definitely not Seattle. What has been the craziest part of this year in your eyes so far for all the highs and the lows of the league?
Well, Russell Wilson's certainly up there. That's terrible. The Seahawks definitely won that trade. The Raiders are a huge disappointment because on paper we thought the AFC West was going to be, amazing. Every team was going to be amazing, so that goes along with them. I personally have never seen quite the downfall of the Los Angeles Rams, a team that won the Super Bowl, and as talented as they were, I have never seen a team crumble and fizzle out so bad. Same thing as the Broncos. No future. They put all the eggs into the basket, and they have no future. They have no draft pick. It's gone to the Lions, and the team is riddled with injury. You got every star player injured. You got Aaron Donald now out this week. You got Matthew Stafford, who's been dealing with this concussion issue, and you have Cooper Kupp, who's been out. And it's just, you have all your star players out. Okay, well, now your team is trash because you have no star players. And they're second to last, I think I'm looking at here, the playoff picture, the second to last in the NFC. And the Bears I would say the Bears are better than them right now. They should be last. It's like, I've never seen a team look as bad as they are after the Super Bowl than this team. It might be one of the worst disappointments post Super Bowl I've ever seen. Quite the hangover.
Yeah, it would be the first one since the Buccaneers after they won in 2003 that would finish under 500 if they were to finish under 500.
I will tell you this: if this happens again next year, I don't care if they won a Super Bowl, a year ago or 2 years ago. Sean McVay is going to be looking for another job because you can't trade away all those pieces and your future and only win one Super Bowl.
He might just step down himself at this point.
I mean, honestly, it's ever since Odell Beckham got hurt and he is no longer playing for this team, they haven't been the same. When Odell Beckham went at the end of the season at the trade deadline, they were a different team. They really were a different explosive team. And now that Odell Beckham is trying to figure out where he wants to go, and the Rams were one of those teams that really stood out. Everybody thought that's where he was going back to. The Rams are not a playoff team. Matthew Stafford hasn't been – I think Matthew Stafford wasn't 100% healthy all season long. And you're going to probably hear at the end of the season he's going in for shoulder surgery or arm surgery. He has not been 100% because if Matthew Stafford was 100%, he would be throwing 4,000 yards. It doesn't matter who's the wide receiver. Matthew Stafford is one of the more talented arm quarterbacks in the NFL. And the fact that he has only thrown, 26 or 2,700 yards in a full season, that is alarming. And I think it had a lot to do with his arm strength. So I feel bad for Matt. This is a guy that deserves a lot of credit for what he did last year and really coming home to the Rams. He obviously is going to be a free agent this year. The Rams are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with him. Are they going to sign him, or are they going to look elsewhere in free agency? You have Derek Carr that could be available. You have Aaron Rodgers that very much could be available with one more year left on that contract. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Raiders, by the way. I really do.
The Rams have to trade their first-round pick in 2028 or so.
Yeah, and
trying to do that.
Jimmy Garoppolo could be available. There is Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of quality quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks that could be available this offseason, and it'll be very interesting to see where some of these teams go, including the Jets, if Mike White isn't the answer and it isn't Zach Wilson. I don't believe the Jets are going to draft again. I don't think they're going to be that stupid. So I think what they have right now is they're in position to win now, and they have a very good young team. Bringing in a veteran quarterback with a good young group like this, or a good young group in Oakland or something. I'm sorry, not Oakland, Vegas. Maybe they're a contender. So it's going to be very, very crazy in the offseason and the draft positions that a lot of these teams are. So it's very interesting. As everybody knows, we are talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker and operator and writer, Brendan Walker. Last question for me, Brendan.
Yeah.
You look at the league and you look at the dominance of Kansas City and what they have done over the last couple of years, and Patrick Mahomes, who he is as a quarterback, what he stands for, and really the face right now of the NFL. Do you really believe that this Kansas City Chiefs team is a Super Bowl contender? Honestly, when you look at top to bottom, is this the best Kansas City team you've seen? And do you think with all the craziness that's going on in the AFC, do you really think that this team is now, being that they're the number one favorites, the Super Bowl contending champion?
The way you're phrasing it makes me think you don't like this team a lot.
I think they're very overrated. I really do. I really do. Travis Kelce is a beast right now. I mean,
Yes.
You can't stop this guy. This guy, and by the way, you have arguably the best center in the NFL and his brother. I mean, these two guys are just behemoths. These guys are great. They're fantastic to watch. But honestly, I think they're highly overrated. Okay, I do. I'm not them, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs are highly overrated as a team. Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. We've seen teams like the Buffalo Bills get in his head, and when you do that, you could throw him off his mark, and he's not as dominant and he's not as great of a thrower when he gets into that pressure situation. I don't think this offensive line is as good as everybody thinks it is. And when they play one of these young defenses, maybe the Jets or one of these other teams that they haven't seen this year that can get at you up with 4 and play man-to-man coverage, they're going to have a lot of problems against those teams. So do you think that this team is for real?
Well, now I might have to change my answer now. I definitely at the beginning was like, right now, like maybe a couple weeks back, I was looking at the Eagles and Chiefs. I was like, oh yeah, it's possible Super Bowl matchup. I was like, yeah, if we played the Chiefs right now, I don't know if we could beat them, because the offense was looking super good. They were putting up 45 points. You know, Eagles kind of bend, don't break, but they've given up points to some teams, even a Packers team without Aaron Rodgers, so like half the game. So, you know, I mean, they're looking good at some point. I actually am very interested to see this next game coming up on this week 13 with the Bengals and Chiefs, because I think the Bengals record is not indicative of how good the team is. I think they just had a slow start, and last year the Bengals actually beat them in the regular season. So I actually am high on the Bengals currently. I know Bills are up there. I think the Chiefs are one of the top teams for sure in the AFC. But I think that the NFL is very top heavy on the NFC side versus the AFC. I think the AFC is still kind of any team could kind of win, like literally the 7-4 I'm seeing right now. And then like, it's just a whole bunch of like mishmash versus the NFC, where it's like boom, 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 great defense, great, you know, it's stuff like that. Do I go against what you say and say that the Chiefs are legit? I think they're legit for their AFC division, or sorry, conference. But maybe not overall. And now that I'm thinking about it, now that you're saying some stuff, maybe not.
I'm looking at them as a full package, and they have to me, he's been as good a quarterback as anybody in the league this year, but they don't have the weapon. They don't have Tyreek Hill. And teams already know Travis Kelce, if you could stop Travis Kelce or even contain him to 1 touchdown a game, you have to have Scantling try to beat you, Juju try to beat you. These names are not names that really stand out to you anymore. It really is. Juju isn't the same player he was for the 2 or 3 years he was with the Steelers when he was a top player and a top route runner. And Scantling, give me a break, okay? Or what is it, Hardman or whatever the hell his name is. These guys aren't the big superstar players that we remember with Tyreek Hill. So honestly, I think that this team is beatable. As the Buffalo Bills showed you that they can beat them. And I don't think that they're as good as they were when they won the Super Bowl. I really don't. I think this is one of the worst Kansas City Chiefs teams we've seen. So as good as their record shows them, who have they beaten this year? Okay. And look at who they're playing besides the Bengals. Are you going to tell me any of the other teams that they have to play are any good? They have the easiest schedule for the last 4 games of the season in the whole NFL. So, yeah, they're going to be the number 1 seed. Does that mean that they're going to beat one of those top AFC teams when they meet them in the playoffs? The answer is no. Andy Reid is the best coach out of all of them. I really do. I think he's a great offensive mind. He's a good trickster when it comes to the big game. I still believe, and you know Andy Reid very well because you're a Philadelphia fan, but I can't sit here today and say, hey, you know what? I think Kansas City's going all the way. I think they're wonderful. I want to kiss their you-know-what. You know what I want to do? I want to see them go down in flames because, honestly, I think they're highly overrated. So that's my thoughts, the whole thing. Speedy?
My last question is, for your Eagles, who do you fear most in the playoffs in the NFC?
In the NFC? Okay. This one might be a little crazy to hear, but this would be between the 49ers and the Cowboys right now. I think they could beat the Cowboys in the regular season, but then come playoff time, it's kind of a little different. You never know in the playoffs. No. You never know divisional games in the playoffs. You never know what could happen.
You want me to throw up? The Cowboys aren't beating them. I'm sorry. I don't care how good Michael Parsons is in this defense, which their secondary is highly overrated. The Cowboys secondary isn't. Diggs is a not a make or break corner. Okay. He loves to, try to find the pick. And if he doesn't, pick the ball off, he's not the same corner. The corners don't even match up. The secondary of the Eagles don't match up to the Cowboys because they're so much better, the Eagles. There's nothing that the 49ers are the only team that really should scare you. In the whole NFC. They're really good. They have a high-flying offense. Their defense is starting to wake up. Their offensive line is showing up. They're scary good. And when they figure it out and they put 2 and 2 together, and yes, we have Pete coming on, and I'm sure he's going to argue Minnesota's the team to watch. But I think Minnesota has some deficiencies too. I think they can win. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I think they have all the weapons offensively to win. And go all the way to the NFC title game. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins when it comes down to the big game, and that's the big problem. But I'm definitely going to have my thoughts with Pete. I'm sure he's going to yell at me when we get him on. But, Brendan, we love you, man. We want to get you on again. You're fantastic. Keep up the good work with the NFL as the newsroom ticker operator and writer. You're fantastic, man. You really are.
I love you guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great work, as always. Brendan Walker, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. Really was. When we come back, our friend, a guy that doesn't need any applause and a guy that's probably going to bite my damn head off. Okay. We will be talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst, Pete Bercich, here on the Sports Loudmouths.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
631-672-3108 is the number. You are listening to the Sports Loudmouths. Check our website out at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Great show. I want to give a shout out to Brendan Walker for joining us. Fantastic analyst, aka newsroom ticker operator and writer for the NFL. He is fantastic. Love him when he comes on the show. He is an Eagle fan, so I'm sure he is very excited moving forward as the season is coming to a close, and they're going to probably be the number one seed in the NFC. Another guy who I've been waiting to get him on the show. We've had him on a couple of times. If he's not sitting in his car and arguing with us in his car, he's hanging out at home, doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's well respected around the league. A guy that I very much respect, even though he wants to bite my head off half the time. We are now talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst, Pete Bercich. Pete, what's up, man?
Not much. Gentlemen, how are you?
We're good, man. I wanted to go.
Doing all right. Are you guys doing okay?
How you feeling? You feeling all right? The Jets are 7-4. I should be happy.
We're sitting down just like Zach Wilson is on the bench.
Okay, yeah. All right. No, he was standing most of the time. But I digress.
I did like the faces he was making. He looked like a clown.
I don't know. It's you can't win in that situation, right? I mean, you know what? You just can't, because what are you supposed to be, happy that you got benched? I mean, what do you do, right? You're joyful. I mean, you're happy, I guess, that your team won. But yeah, that's a tough situation, man. I mean, that's a tough situation, especially when the guy's out there spreading the ball around. The guy that replaces you is out there spreading the ball around and executing an offense. I mean, it's tough. It's got to be tough to watch.
Well, Whoopi Goldberg's making another Sister Act 3, so he can hide out and be a nun. I mean,
what movie's new nowadays? Seriously. I mean, it's like everything. I'm 50, and everything I ever watched as a kid is a movie now. Right?
Oh, you're
it's
young.
Like,
you're
there's
young.
There's nothing new.
You're only 10 years older than me, bud.
Nothing new under the sun. Yeah, well, really, you don't look a day over 30.
Well, thank you. I love that. I love him even more, even though in a few moments he's probably going to bite my head off.
No, I heard what you said about earlier, so it's all right. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Well,
right.
I'm interested to listen to you on the radio this week, and if you don't know who we're talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst Pete Bercich, very well respected around the league. The guy knows his stuff. You definitely have to check him out throughout Twitter, throughout the social media networks. This guy is as good of an analyst out there. He's the Vikings voice, and it's great. It's great what he does, and you deserve all the credit. So why don't we get into this game this weekend? This is a big game for both teams. The Vikings right now, they're 9-2. The Jets are 7-4. The Jets have a chance this week. A lot of experts like the Jets in this game. They match up very well against this Vikings team. Justin Jefferson has been one of the best wide receivers we've seen really since Odell Beckham really hit the world and was really on fire with that great catch that he made against the Cowboys and really spread that the league on fire. You look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Sauce Gardner. This matchup is definitely a matchup that people are looking forward to. What do you think could happen this weekend when these two guys collide?
It's going to be great to see. It really is. And I think what's going to be interesting to see is really how Justin Jefferson has kind of evolved throughout the season, right? I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles were really, when we played the Philadelphia Eagles, you watched them the game before, they were a 4-man front. We go out to Philadelphia, they show up a lot of 5-man front. They wanted to get the big kid, the new nose tackle, the rookie from Georgia in there. And, Darius Slay was rolled up and he had help over the top, and they jammed him at the line of scrimmage. And basically it's about interrupting the timing, right? And they did a good job of shutting him down. And then we go play Detroit. Detroit did a pretty good job of it too. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name, the cornerback's name from Detroit.
Oruwariye.
Yeah, no, not Oruwariye is the other guy.
Okudah.
Yeah, Okudah was surprisingly good. He had, real long arm. He changed up the timing of his jams and disruptions, things like that. But for JJ, just like any receiver, and that's what's so awesome, that's what I love most about the NFL, is you constantly have to evolve, because teams no longer are going to just let JJ free release. If you let him free release and you try to play some type of, single high, man, 3 deep, or if you blitz, you better get there. But if you let him just free release and have the field, he's too fast, he's too quick, he's too good, he is too good of a catch radius. He's going to get you. So a couple teams did that. And, Miami did a pretty good job of it until I think the Vikings coaches figured out what they were seeing, and they ran some, man-to-man type beating routes. So for the Jets, it's going to be interesting to see if they take Sauce and roll them up and see how much JJ has progressed throughout the season. And he understands that he has to get better at certain things. And going to be a great battle, right? It's going to be a really, really good battle. It's going to be interesting to see. The Bears kind of threw his way a little bit on Gardner, especially a couple, the touchdown to Claypool could have been caught. What it should have been caught. I think there's opportunity. It's just going to be very interesting. It's a very compelling reason to watch this football game. Not only do you have 2 possible playoff teams, but I mean, who would have thought the last time we talked was like in August?
Yep. Yeah, right before the season.
Who would have thought we would have been talking now, other than seeing it on a schedule and saying we got we got a potential. I mean, we could win the division this weekend if we win. I say we, the Vikings win, and the Detroit Lions lose. Think about that. I mean, and you guys are in the mix of it. You guys being the New York Jets. Never would have thought of it. I mean, I could kind of see our end of it, but as far as you and the Jets, you've got to be just thrilled.
Well, I did tell you that I thought the Jets were going to be in a playoff contingency when this game was going to happen. I thought it was going to be very, very important, this game. And I didn't know how Minnesota was going to be. I
got to give you credit for that, because you've been saying that, I think, before every season for the last 15 years, and you got it right. And you know what? 1 out of 15. Way to go, buddy.
It's only a matter of time.
No, they've done a good job, and you, I mean, and I'm like interested to talk to you guys too, just as much to get some information out of you guys. But
absolutely,
a very aggressive, fast, probably the fastest defense I've seen on film. Offensive line, they're not road graders, but they're athletic. Right. They position block well. They outside zone block very, very well. That's going to be the key. How are you going to do that on a 3-4? If you got outside linebackers who are going to keep contained, that's going to be the interesting part to see if you guys can run. The shot in the arm that Mike White gave your offense, the Jets offense. I mean, he spread the ball around, 10 different guys, caught passes. I mean, that excites everybody, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, hey, this guy could throw me the ball. So that was a good shot in the arm. He did a very good job. And I sent you guys a link to the video that I did. And that's watching that game, and studying that game. That's what he did. I mean, he beat the Bears pre-snap. He knew, he's smart enough to know, if I see this, then I'm going to do that. And he proved that over and over again. But I guess his kryptonite is kind of that bootleg that should have been intercepted, right? That's a mistake that he got away with. And so with him, it's, with White, it's about disguising pre-snap and then making him uncomfortable after the snap. But you could say that about any quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the Vikings are going to have to do. And defensively, we've been struggling now. For Dallas, for God's sake, we gave up 460 yards, I think, a total offense.
Yep.
Mac Jones put up 3 points the week before against the Jets before we played them. And by the end of that game, they were going empty and just letting them throw it. Right. So are there issues? Yeah. Are there things that need to get fixed? Yeah. And again, this is the league has changed where I think a team can look as poorly as we did on Sunday night or Sunday, 3:20, whatever, 3:30 kickoff against the Cowboys, and then come back and play as well as they did offensively against the Patriots. So, you know what? I don't know, man. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, but it'll be fun.
We are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst, Pete Bercich. You were saying how fast the Jets defense
Aaron Rodgers gave me this mug.
I'm sure he's not thinking that way now.
Well, he's not relaxed, but he will be starting this week. The question is, how long is he going to be starting? Is he 100% healthy, which we know he's not? And he doesn't want to lose that job to Jordan Love because he knows that when he steps off that field and Jordan Love steps on that field, that might be the end of Aaron, just like Brett Favre. So,
in Green Bay, maybe it was. I don't think
No,
Rodgers is.
I think
done,
it makes a lot of sense him going to Vegas. I really do. If they decide to part ways with Derek, he's a free agent. It makes a lot of sense where Aaron Rodgers could go right in there. Waller, Renfro, and now Devontae Adams. You're a Super Bowl contender.
You know what it is? It is interesting. I know before the season started, we obviously have to talk about the Packers a lot, but just saying, it's the old chicken and the egg thing. Is it Devontae Adams or, is it Aaron Rodgers? And I learned back when I was coaching with the Vikings, when we had Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss, right? And they both wanted to be number one, meaning they both wanted to be the highest paid, right? Because they both thought that they were the best player on the team. It's like, okay, you can argue that, that's fine. But what ended up happening was they broke up. And it's the old saying where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? Dante made Randy better and Randy made Dante better, right? Randy pulled off coverage so Dante could run. Dante could throw that ball. I mean, he could throw a ball a mile. His arm, 6'5", 265, 270. He could throw a football a country mile, which helped Randy. And Randy's career turned out just fine. But it's like, what if those two would have just stayed together, right? And you think about the same thing with Adams and Rodgers, because the Packers did so much schematically to get Devontae Adams the football. I mean, they did a ton. And Rodgers was good enough to get it to him. The two of them were always on the same page. And the thing about Rodgers that's so dangerous is that, and when I heard you guys talking about the Chiefs, and you think about the Chiefs and what they're doing, and it's like, well, the quarterback scrambles, but he doesn't scramble to run, right? Like Justin Fields. It's like you want to pull Justin Fields aside and say, listen, dude, keep running like you're running, but just don't keep running. Stop and throw it, right?
You want those shots like Forrest Gump.
Because you just can't survive in this league getting hit like you do. You may be able to survive 8 games, 10 games, maybe one season, but you're shortening your career by that. And if you can scramble and move like you can and beat somebody deep, you're going to slow. If you can move in the pocket and be dangerous, you're going to slow the pass rush down. Teams' defensive lines do not go into Green Bay and rush, or at least they used to when Devontae was there, but they don't rush Aaron Rodgers the same way they do Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, they're like, we're pinning our ears back. We know where he's going to be. We can play 2-man behind it, no problem. Aaron Rodgers, he'll move and extend plays, and the receivers know exactly what to do. He knows exactly where they're going to go, and he can burn you on it. So that's how you extend your career, right? So for Fields, it's like, okay, he's an unbelievable athlete. I mean, the guy's unbelievable. It's just, dude, you gotta throw the football and make teams pay. You'll get exactly what you want, and that's slowing down the pass rush, right? And that I think is the key to quarterbacks now in the NFL, is their ability to keep a play alive and do something with it, kind of make it up as you go sometimes or some ways, I guess. But I don't know. You asked me what time it was. I just told you guys how I'll watch with me, so I apologize.
It's
I get paid to talk. It's what I do.
Yeah, and hey, listen, that's what we do, and that's why we love you. But you know,
you get a little bit of break. It's like you just can, wind them up and let them go. You guys take.
Well, yeah, maybe that's how you played football. You were talking a lot on the field.
No, I didn't smell. I don't know. I didn't say a whole lot. I think that's why I talk so much now. You know what I mean? I didn't want to like piss off John Randall or something. I just kind of
no, you would want to do that.
Or like Randall McDaniel. Like Randall McDaniel, who was probably one of the best offensive guards ever played the game. He was 280, 85 pounds, right? Wasn't that big. And didn't say boo, but it was like the movie Blazing Saddles with Mongo. Yeah. Remember Mongo?
Yes.
And he was going to go see Mongo, and the sheriff was going to bring his gun, and he's like, "Oh no, don't do that! Don't shoot him. You'll just make him angry." Right? It was the same thing with Randall McDaniel. It's like, dude, just don't talk to him. Don't make him angry, because if you make him angry, he's going to embarrass you. So,
were you playing when with the two Williams brothers, Kevin and Pat, when they were?
I was coaching at that time.
Oh, you were coaching.
I was a linebacker coach.
Those two seemed very intimidating. Like you wouldn't want to mess with them either.
They were. I how do I say it? Here, let me tell you a little story about Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams, I was working with George O'Leary, and it was really George O'Leary who found Kevin Williams. He found him down at the Senior Bowl and just fell in love with the guy and really was the at the front of the tip of the spear in drafting him. And Kevin Williams is huge, right? He's a 6'5", 300-pound guy, right? And he's like the smallest one in his family. His brother, we met his brother, and his brother just dwarfs him. Like I think he refers to Kevin as little man, right? But Kevin's is just he's just a country guy, right? He likes to go fishing and, real slow. And then there's Pat Williams, right? And Pat Williams talks a million miles an hour. And a funny story about Pat Williams is when he was young, they thought he had a learning disability or that there was something wrong with him. And if not for a teacher, he had a grade school teacher who realized that he had a condition where he can't read like black ink on white paper.
Wow.
There's just something there that it was like nails on a chalkboard for him visually. So she figured that out and then had all of his schoolwork printed out on red paper. Right. and he was fine. So, thank God for those people, for people in your life like that. But Pat talked a million miles an hour. You couldn't understand a word he was saying because he talked so fast, and he had a little bit of a stutter, but he talked a million miles an hour. And he and Kevin would talk, right? You have Master and Blaster. You got this big guy and this little guy. Neither of them were like little, but Pat would and Kevin would be like, that's all. And it was one of the funniest things. And then you had Jared Allen. I mean, their meeting room was like romper room, right? I mean, it was nuts. It was chaos. It was
Speedy wasn't alive for romper room, but that was
it was
great.
But when you coach really good players, I mean, basically all I got to do is get out of the way, let them go out there and do their thing, right?
That's true.
Right, making the average ones better. That's where coaches make their hay, I guess.
Well, Patty, I wouldn't want to speak to Pat Williams on the field the way he hit you. So
Pat was he'd come running off the field after a series, and he'd see guys sitting on a bench, and he'd be like, get out of the way, get out of the way. Nose man coming through. And he just coming, he's boom. Right. You had to get out of his way when he was coming off the field to the bench. But
if he speaks that fast, I wouldn't want to get involved with it.
Smart, very, very, very smart. He knew football. He was smart about what was going on and knew what offenses were trying to do, knew how to read blocks. He's very, very smart football player.
So I want to go back to the current Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, when we last talked to you, we didn't know what he was as a coach yet. We were just kind of previewing that he was coming from the Rams. He was going to bring some offensive concepts. I thought he was very creative against the Patriots. They were maneuvering a lot of those guys around. So what has been your impressions of him so far? And how do you think they will have to be creative like that in order to attack this Jets defense?
Yeah, Kevin has been, he's the complete opposite of Mike Zimmer in so many ways, and not that one of them's better or worse. All right, they're both really, really good coaches, and they won a lot of football games. I'm saying their styles are as polar opposite as you can get. Kevin he's a gifted speaker, right? He's very, very good at taking something that's very complex and making it very simple. He's very good about getting his point across. And you look at the Vikings this year compared to last year. Last year, we set a record, and I believe it was 9 games that we lost by 1 score. You flip that going forward, and I don't know if there are any other. We've had all but one football game, all but one. 8 of our 9 wins have all been by 1 score. And so, what exactly is that? Is that the coach and the scheme and everything? Well, we'll get into that, but these guys believe in themselves now, and they believe in each other more importantly. And so that can't be, you can't just sit people in a room and tell them, right? You never give up, you never surrender. You got faith in the guy next to you. You're in that foxhole together. That stuff can't be taught. It can't be, commanded. It's something that has to happen almost organically. But yeah, they found a way to win these football games. And what he's doing is, this is why I'm so excited to see what Cousins is able to do. And I heard what you said about Cousins earlier, and it's like, okay, I get where that comes from. And I think I can see the point, but they're putting so much, Kevin O'Connell's putting so much more on Kirk Cousins as a football player, knowing the game plan, knowing what he's going to see, and then having the responsibility of putting the team in the right position. So it's nowhere near as simple as it used to be for him, because for Cousins, it used to be just line up and execute the play that's called. Now he has say in things. Now he has to make decisions. Now he has to really know what's going on out there. And I think against the Patriots was the best example of this offense working like that. We've seen fits and spurts of it. You've seen mistakes, some growing pains, those kinds of things. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes against the Jets and for the next, 5 weeks or so after that. Because if this starts clicking for him, right, if this starts clicking for Cousins and the offense and everybody else, I think, offensively we can hang with anybody, and defensively, yeah, they're learning the 3-4, a lot of new stuff. They got to get more physical. Our defense needs to be, they need to be more physical and learning the techniques and playing them right, especially in a 3-4, which is new to a lot of them. They can master that. I think the defense can improve quite a bit. We have some issues at corner with just bodies. Andrew Booth Jr., our rookie corner, just had knee surgery, so he's out. Cameron Dantzler has had neck issues, and so we've had another rookie, Caleb Evans, in there. Duke Shelley, who, was I think with the Bears. I don't even know. He was, he came up off the practice squad, yeah. And so, he actually made a big play against the Bills for us, and made a big play last week. One nice play, big play against the Patriots. So, how far realistically you sit there and go, well, how far can a team go with a rookie corner? It's like, well, just whatever. Overall, though, this offense, I think, is starting to click, and like I said, I hope it's not the roller coaster ride that we've kind of seen over the last couple months, but we'll see.
We are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst Pete Bercich. You were speaking about the corner situation for the Vikings. The Jets have a lot of prolific offensive talent. You have Garrett Wilson, who's becoming a star right in front of our eyes. Yep. Even with Zach Wilson throwing to him, he's been putting up the numbers. Now you have White, 2 touchdowns, 95 yards last week. was fantastic. You have Elijah Moore now waking up. You have the tight ends. You know Conklin very, very well. He's finally figuring out how to catch the ball with the Jets. I mean, you have Davis back. You have Denzel Mims becoming a piece and a piece of the pie for the New York Jets. And then really just the speed of this team. This is going to be a very hard offense for the Vikings to stop, being that they have so many weapons. And it's crazy to say this because you know this, Pete. When was the last time you could say that the Jets have weapons? I don't remember the last time.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe back in the Brian Cox days, right? You know what I mean?
They had Brendan Marshall and Eric Decker for 1 year, and then that went,
that went south.
Yes.
It's been a while. It's been a while, and trust me, when you turn on you turn on the tape and you watch the film, like I said, this is by far the fastest defense, and I'm talking, from the nose tackle to the nickel to the free safety to the dime. Everybody that they put on the field is an unbelievable athlete and they can run. So you're not going to be able to run away from these guys. You're not going to be able to just run outside and run away from them.
What defense guy really scares you in the film that you've watched?
The guy that, Quinnen Williams, we hear a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
When I took a good look at the Bears game, and it was John Franklin Myers. That guy, wow, he's good. You guys kind of play the run on the way to the quarterback, right? You're the defense is upfield and they're very, very aggressive. So, but I think those two guys up front, a good defensive front. Really across the board. Nathan Shepard. They're all very, very good football players. They play. They're in a system that fits them, right? They're in a system, I think, that works for them. And if you don't, the movement and the line stunts and the blitzing and all those things that they do so well together, if you don't have your footwork down and your technique down, and your offensive line doesn't know how to pass off stunts and do some of those things, it could really be a long day, because those guys are just such unbelievable athletes.
Pete, you know what stands out to me when I watch this Jets defense is the linebacker play. Everybody thought that this linebacker play going into the season had no depth. Mosley, obviously, over the last couple of years, been fighting injury. This has been the first year where he's really been healthy all season long, has been a huge leader for this team. Quan Alexander, they bring him in before the season started. He needs to figure things out. He knows Robert Saleh's defense as well as anybody. And then Quincy Williams, where they practically stole him from the Jaguars. And I'm sure they're smacking themselves in the head how fast he is, the ability that he has, in the open field to tackle tight ends and do the things that the Jets have not been good at for years. And that's why the Patriots have been demolishing them. I don't even want to mention that name, that team, by the way. Yeah. But it's been fantastic, and I think Mosley has been really the face of this defense. He's been fantastic, sensational, and I believe this year he is at an All-Pro year.
I would agree with you on that respect, and on C.J. Mosley, that he's, wherever the football is, he is. He's fast. He's not afraid to hit somebody, right? He's not going to hit a guy and light him up per se. But he's definitely going to be the spearhead. He's definitely going to get to the football. And I know, like you said, with Quincy Williams, I'm looking at some of my notes. I apologize, but Quincy Williams he's a very, very solid football player too. And it's nice. It's nice when you're watching film and you have to rewind it and go, okay, wait, which guy was that? Was that 56 or 57? Right. You have to kind of, the two of them, play very well, together. And, Quan Alexander is, I think, he's very athletic. He could, the tackling and the physical part of the game, I think he doesn't quite match Quan Alexander yet. So like a guy like Quan Alexander, I would run at him, right? You don't want to run away from him because he'll catch you. You just want to be physical and run at him. So, it's the whole group. like you got Jermaine Johnson, a guy that I loved coming out of Florida State. You look at what he does. He's just fast. He's powerful. He can bull rush. Michael Clemens.
What a fight!
Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff.
Yes,
he comes in and he uses his hands real well as a pass rusher, and it's like, well, that's the kind of guy that Brian O'Neill struggled against, or has struggled against in the past. And so it's like, okay, how's that matchup going to go? How much is he going to be in the game? And I don't know. I mean, and like Tanzel Smart, very stout at the double, as taking on double teams, holding the point. And that's the thing is you get guys like Tanzel Smart in there, Quinnen Williams, Shepard holding on double teams or just making those double teams last a little bit longer. And then right behind you, you've got a guy like Mosley who can run like the wind. It's a problem, right? It's a big problem. And, you guys are aggressive. They don't read and let things happen and react. It's like you guys, these guys are downhill. They attack. And I think I like that about your coach's mentality is you got to establish that first. You want these guys to be aggressive and get downhill, peel them back a little bit later, I guess. So I think that's going to be a lot of it is coming down to how well do the Vikings manage the blitz? How well do they manage the pressure? How well do you do with your protections? Do you allow free runners? You got your hot routes all straightened out, and because you got to make a team pay. The only way to really stop a team from blitzing you is to burn them, right? Is to really, really burn them. And that's the only thing that keeps defensive coordinators from wanting to blitz all the time. And so, you guys are going to blitz. You're the second percentage-wise, second highest in the NFL. I mean,
blitzing?
Right?
No, the Jets do not blitz a
They
lot.
don't blitz at all.
They're the second least, I think.
Second least?
Second least. Yeah, they don't blitz.
No, the Giants are the one that blitz a lot.
What the Jets like to do is they like to bring up four guys and play man-to-man defense. They're the best in the NFL at doing that. And they've blitzed the second least in the league, which is crazy. So, which you can use on your network, on your radio.
I will. Yeah, that really looks good for the analyst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Giants.
I haven't watched all the games. Okay, so
I'm glad
that can't watch all of them.
Pete. Well, I'm glad that we can help you. So
that's the whole benefit of this.
No,
right?
Absolutely. And I love listening to you. I've listened to you really since you've come on the show. I like what I see with Minnesota. I think they're dangerous. I think offensively they have arguably one of the best wide receivers we've seen since Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Justin's he's unbelievable, and you just want Kirk to throw him that 50-50 ball. Just give it up to him. Just let him make a play. And I think most of the time he does.
I think Thielen is so important in this game if they plan to beat the Jets, because the Jets already know that Jefferson's going to see the ball 13 to 15 times. Kirk Cousins loves looking his way, so expect that. I think Adam Thielen plays a big part of where this offense is going to go against this Jet defense.
I won't disagree with you on that. I mean, Thielen, Thielen's going to get the one-on-one, so Thielen's going to have to win, right? Mm-hmm. The guy that I think is the concern is TJ Hawkinson. Mm-hmm. And I really do believe a big part of why they brought him in was for the man-to-man type situation. And man-to-man is like, there's different ways, obviously, to play it. You could play like two-man where you play like cover two, just man underneath, or you can mini package it with the safeties playing games or, whatever, or play single high man-to-man and flood the underneath, those kinds of things. We've struggled getting open in man earlier this season. Okay. So, until we figured it out and we're able to run some routes and different bunch formations and things that give that coverage issues. We struggled getting some people open. And I think TJ's the answer to that only because he's such a big body. And if you want to cover him with a linebacker, good luck. So it's kind of like, how do you deal with that? And the good news for you guys is if TJ's catching the football, most of the time he's just moving the chains, right? He's not just, Jefferson catches like Randy Moss. He had 3 passes, 3 receptions against Cowboys, 3 for touchdowns back on Thanksgiving in '88. It's like it's like pick the way you want to die, right? That's kind of the Belichick thing is when people use the phrase make a team left-handed. It's like, okay, well, we got to kind of, pick our battles here. And I just think that TJ Hawkinson is going to be a big part of what goes on Sunday, especially if we see a lot of man-to-man out of the Jets.
You want me
defense.
to predict what's going to happen? Because I've watched the Jets play against pretty good tight ends, pretty speedy, good-handed tight ends. They're going to if Minnesota gets into the red zone, and when they get into the red zone, they're probably going to put a guy like Sauce on TJ Hawkinson. We've seen that this year. They like to do that. They like to put their big, tall, lengthy, speedy corner on there. They do have a lot of depth on that cornerback side with Eccles and obviously DJ Reed, who people forget how great DJ Reed is.
Yeah,
Michael Carter's a top 15 quarterback in the league too, percentage-wise. One of the better slot corners in the league. What a find by Joe Douglas, by the way, finding him in the 4th or 5th round from Duke. So, I mean, they have so many corners that they can evaluate and move around. That's why this is such a good matchup for both teams. I think it's going to be fun. It's not going to be that high-flying type of game that everybody thinks it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a 30 to 20, 21. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think the game is going to be like 20 to 17, 24 to 20. That's where I think the game is going to lie. It's going to matter at the end of the game who wants it more and who is going to play down to the opponent that they're playing against.
Yeah, and it's you've got a top scoring defense going against a top scoring offense, a very good offense, right? So that's kind of the half of the game that everybody's going to want to see. It's that part of it. I agree with you. It's going to be very, very interesting, and it's how many points can the Jets put up with Mike White. And I think for the Vikings, the big thing is going to be to make, force Mike White into mistakes, force him out of the pocket, make him feel uncomfortable, not like a bootleg where it's, whatever, but to get him to make some mistakes because he has made them in the past. Yes, and if you can do that and get an extra possession or two, that could change the game. And I think that's really what it's going to, come down to because, well, I mean, we like to throw the football, and even though I love Dalvin Cook, I think Dalvin Cook is still the heart and soul of this offense and really this team. They like to throw the ball. Even if we're running the ball well, we still like to throw the football. So if you guys are able to contain the passing game, I don't know if we'll go away from it. You know what I mean? I think that's just Kevin O'Connell's mantra. He's just like, we're going to throw the football. We're going to be a passing football team. And that could be it can end up being a long night for us if that's the case. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Cook receiving against the Jets. Robert Saleh and his defenses have always had trouble with pass catching running backs, and we saw the Patriots definitely expose that in their two games this season.
That's a byproduct of your man coverage. I mean, if you're playing man, you could take your line your receivers up tight and just clear half the field, right? You can just run everybody out of there and then have a running back check through, and now all of a sudden he's one-on-one with the linebacker in a lot of space. And so there's a lot of run after catch in that respect. And you're absolutely right when you say that. They've had, but if you're playing man-to-man, that's where you want to, if you're going to have problems in man-to-man, that's where you want them, right? With checkdowns and running backs, not with receivers, like the Ravens have had in the past where they're just giving up, 50-70-yard passes all the time. That's Dalvin Cook. Yeah, he could have a big day out of the backfield. I don't know. I mean, like I said, though, I think Dalvin's he's just such an important part. And for you guys and for the defense, and how aggressive they are, the play action's going to have to be part of it.
100%.
It has to be part of it. The bootlegs, those kinds of things. The misdirection has to be part. But for misdirection to work, you got to have some credit to it. So if you start running the football and you're not, you're getting -1, -2, -3, that kind of thing, it's not going to work. The Vikings offense, we played so poorly against Dallas, and we just played their game, right? We did nothing to take them out of their game, and we averaged on third down that night, we averaged about 3rd and 13. Right. So you got Micah Parsons and, you're going to let those guys for how many third downs are there? 13, 14 for that many plays. And when you're up by, 2 scores or whatever, just pin their ears back and rush the passer. I mean, you just can't do that. So they did a much better job against New England. And a lot of that was just being efficient on 1st and 2nd down, right? If the Vikings are facing 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, we can live with that. But if you're getting us in 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, it could be another long night. Or afternoon. I don't know when the game's at noon. Yeah, afternoon. Sorry.
Noon, yeah. The other thing that was interesting too is they do a lot of the bunch formations. So I know the Rams always did that first. They did a lot of the 3 receiver sets with the bunches, but the Vikings actually did it where they put Cook. Sometimes I see Cook, Hawkinson, and either Thielen or KJ Osborne. Like they do it a lot of different ways.
Yeah, they do. Interesting. They do, and the motioning of a back in and out of the backfield. You line up an empty. And you just go see, you look and see, is there a linebacker walked out covering them, or is or did the corner bump out? Because if they bump out, it's zone. If the linebacker goes out, then it's man to man. Motioning, pre-snap, shifting those bunch formations and all of that. It's all designed to tell. One game it's designed to tell. One game it's designed to actually do something. If they expect a lot of man-to-man, then I expect a lot of those bunch routes because it's, the DBs have to be able to pass things off. You can't just play cat coverage and just fight through picks and fight through all those other things. So, wheel routes out of the backfield, stuff like that. Those are all your stereotypical man-to-man type, beating plays. And you saw that. You saw that. It was either in the Super. No, it was either in the. Yeah, it was in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was in the Super Bowl. It's a huge 3rd down. They motioned the running back out of the backfield and saw the linebacker walk out on him, and then they just ran kind of a wheel route with him, and they got a big 1st down against Cincinnati. So that's just that style. So we'll see.
West Coast offense. We are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network analyst Pete Bercich. Last question for us. I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready for Sunday. We really appreciate all the time as always.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. I'm getting ready for bed.
Well, we're just about to we have another hour of this show.
Yeah, you're just getting warmed up though.
Yeah, we are. Trust me, you have no idea how warmed up we're going to get. But
Errol's still been getting warmed up for the matchup for the last month.
Yeah.
This Vikings.
I know. Hey, look at him. He's already all swelled up. Look at him.
Plays the Vikings.
He did about 200 push-ups. He did about 200 push-ups before he got on air.
Get the push-ups every day.
Get the shine, get the sheen going.
Errol's trying to catch up. In upper body size to Kevin Williams.
Yeah, exactly. He's the tats nice and shiny and dark.
Hold on 1 second. So I've interviewed Justin Tuck a couple of times. Okay. And Justin Tuck's a nice guy. And I said, standing next to Justin Tuck, he hasn't really worked out as much as he used to as a player. I've told all the guys on the radio show, standing next to him, he's a lot taller than I am. But size-wise, I'm just as big as he is. So these guys look at me and they tell me, you think you're as big as Justin Tuck? I said, I don't know. I'm 5'10". I'm 230 pounds. I'm pretty big. You know what I mean? And Justin Tuck, I've asked Justin when I've interviewed him a couple of times. I said, Justin, how tall are you? He says, I'm 6'4", maybe 6'5". And I said, okay, how much do you weigh? And he says, I think at the time after he retired, about 245, 248 pounds. So he's only 18 pounds bigger than me. I mean, heavier than I am. And he's like 7 inches taller than me.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm bigger than him. So this guy, because he's in love with Justin Tuck, absolutely adores the guy. When I said that, he says, you think you're bigger than Justin? I didn't say I was bigger. I said, I think I'm more wider and put together than he is now because he's not playing in the NFL anymore.
Right.
And everybody looked at me like I had 6 heads, man. 6 heads. And
I mean,
whatever.
I mean, it's the different, and that's, it's, the thing is what Tuck can do when he's in a 3-point stance and how quick he is and how fast he can run, right? That's what makes these guys so dangerous. But you're right. the league has changed a ton, and these guys, the defensive linemen, and especially the outside linebackers, and they look, the ends, they look like just big basketball players. They're long. They need long so they can get the separation, but they still need to be strong. Like Zadarius Smith, who is he's one of my favorites. He's just big, right? He's not 300 and whatever. He's just big. His hands are huge. He's just strong, right? He's got this big, deep voice. And, it's like, that's a guy I want lined up next to me, right? Because he's definitely just a big, strong, tough type of a guy. But they're just different. They're not, you don't see the 6'2" muscle hamsters anymore, right? No. You got to be able to move, man. You got to be able to run now. So I don't, you are. Well, are you bigger? When you say bigger, do you mean size wise? You mean like you have a bigger following on Twitter? You got I don't have a bigger audience. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. First of all, don't throw me under the bus, Pete. Okay.
You're the one that said it. How am I throwing you under the bus? I'm not throwing you under the bus at all. I'm trying to help you.
I'm trying to stick up for myself over here, and I have, everybody attacking me when I say I'm, and Justin probably giggled when I said that to him too, by the way. But it's okay.
Hey, I think when it's one of those things where it's like, I got all my working out done when I was playing, right? It's like I'm done.
Of course.
I'm not, and you learn that no matter how big you are, there's always somebody bigger. Always somebody bigger. Right?
100%.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Justin Tuck didn't rip a vein out of your neck.
Well, I think Justin, after knowing that I'm a champion boxer and MMA fighter, I don't think Justin wants to grab me.
Don't worry. We actually interviewed Sean Merriman, who has a lights out boxing.
Where were you when Romanowski was around?
Me?
Where were you? Because Romanowski would want to. He'd want to fight.
Well,
where were you back in that day?
You're absolutely right. That and shooting himself in the ass a million times.
So that's where Plaxico Burress got it from. Now it all makes sense.
Oh man,
that's my. You know what? That's the Plexico Burress thing. That's one of my favorite stories of all time, because I know Paul Allen and I were in New York. He was playing with the Giants, and we met with the PR guy who comes in, because the PR guys from the other teams come in. They always ask, "You have any questions on pronunciations, anything like that?" And we're like, "Yeah, okay. So is it Plexico or Plaxico Burress?" And he goes, "Well, he goes by both." We're like, no, we can't, like, what are you going to have Paul call him one thing and me the other? It's like, no, we need to know what, officially, and it's a big deal. I think behind the scenes, people know, but it's a big deal that we pronounce people's names properly. We owe them that. We owe them that respect, and we like to pronounce the names the right way. And when you have a guy go, yeah, it's Plaxico, whatever, it's like tomato. It's like, oh my God.
Don't ask me how to pronounce a name. I am the worst. Okay. Yeah. If there was we've had hockey players on the show.
Oh yeah. Forget that.
I have been so bad. I've brutally murdered their names. So, and they're like, no, that's not how you pronounce it. And they try to sound, Speedy always tries to like give me the punctuation before I'm ready to interview these guys. And he's like, this is, and sometimes I just completely blop it. Okay.
Probably one of my favorite players, of all time is Halapulavati Vaitai.
Yes.
I
right.
Pronounce
and
that.
he was with the Eagles back in, I think it was 2018 with the NFC Championship game, and he went to Detroit. And I remember when they traded him to Detroit, or he went to, I don't know if he was traded or free agent. I got on Twitter and I'm like, now I get to say his name twice a year. Right. And I'll literally sing it when I'm on the radio. I will. It's because it took, the first time you saw it, you're like, really? Halapulavati? Okay. And and you just keep saying it and saying it's just, it's the best.
You should challenge yourself. Next time the Vikings play the Buccaneers, you should search Vita Vea's real name, his like Hawaiian name. It's like 20 letters long, and try to pronounce that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the names are And yeah, you can't just, because you try to spell things out phonetically and all that kind of stuff. And, you look at you listen to them, you can listen to them say their names, and then how it's spelled out on the flip card is different. So then you go, like I said, you go see the PR person and they're like, Plexico, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Tomato, tomato.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Pete, we really appreciate you joining us. You're a busy man. Good luck this weekend. Go
it's gonna
Jets.
be fun.
Go Jets. Hopefully we get our 8th win, and I'm smiling. We get you on the show during the playoffs, and maybe
we'll see how well White can execute an offense, with the crowd noise and everything else. And
100%.
I think that'll help.
By the way, your crowd noise over there has been wow. I couldn't believe it when I watched the game against the New England Patriots, how loud the Minnesota Viking fans are over there.
It's a small stadium. It's not huge. I mean, it's big, but it's not Arizona big. It's not Dallas big. But it gets loud. The old Metrodome used to get ridiculous. Yeah. My ears would ring the day after a game, and it's not from getting hit. It was just from all the crowd noise. So, it does get loud. And, like I said, we lost some momentum with the Dallas game. We really did. A lot of fans, because the fans up here are snake bit, right? 4 Super Bowls, no wins, here we go again, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, and rightfully so, when things don't look right, they get quiet. Right. Mm-hmm. And so Dallas did that, but the way the offense played against New England, yeah, you're absolutely right. That stadium got loud, and hopefully that'll be a big advantage.
I think it's going to be really, really fun. I'm looking forward to it, and good luck, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, man. Anytime. See ya.
Pete Bercich, fantastic personality, former Vikings linebacker, current Vikings Radio Network analyst. I can't wait to listen to him in his broadcast on Sunday. I will definitely be tuning in to that. And maybe he'll give us some credit. For giving him some initial information. But he's fantastic. Really great personality, and happy to have him on as always. Made him laugh. We both told each other some good stories, and we had a little bit of laughs. So thank you for Pete and joining us.
At least the Jets would play them. We'll play them closer most likely, because he was bringing a Plexico Burris and stuff with the Giants all the past. The Vikings owned the Giants for the longest time.
So did you hear about Sean Payton predicting a huge change in the NFL draft system? Did you hear about that?
I did hear about that, and I don't know if it's something that's necessarily going to matter much, because the NFL tiebreaker system, there's a lot of them. There's like 11 tiebreakers before there's eventually just a coin flip.
But they're going to waive it and have a lottery. And I think it's affected, all these professional sports. It affected the NHL. It's affected, obviously, baseball's doing it now, and NBA's been doing it forever. I don't like it, because you don't know what is fair and what is not fair. You don't know if the leagues are helping teams out, especially teams that are in big cities and in specific areas. So I don't like this. And if it is true, and Sean Payton is saying this to be true, it ruins the game of football. How could you sell to me that even though you're a top 10 worst team in the league, and you're expected to be the number 1 pick, you could fall all the way out to number 8 or number 7, where there's a star quarterback sitting there at 1, and you've been waiting for him, and you've been waiting for that type of player for years to rejuvenate your franchise, and then all of a sudden you fall out of it because of a lottery. It doesn't make sense. I don't think the NFL should do this, but again, every league, it's a copycat league, and with every league doing it now, the NHL doing it, baseball just started doing it, everybody's doing it now. To me, it's becoming unfair. Baseball's doing it now too, right?
Baseball's doing it where they're doing it, but they're also rewarding teams that get award winners within their rookies too. So if they could get it with a late round pick too, and still call the guy up and get the rookie system, they'll be rewarded with extra draft picks too.
Yeah, I don't like the way the leagues are changing everything. It doesn't make sense. I respect Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton knows something that we don't. But again, he is spreading the wealth right now because he wants to show the fans and show the teams that losing as bad as you are and losing every single year the way you are doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the star quarterback, the star offensive lineman, defensive tackle, or the pass rusher that you've been waiting to get, being that you decided to lose out for the rest of the season. I don't like this.
Yeah, if you're thinking of the way it works, definitely, because in the NBA and the NHL, it definitely has been indicative. There have been some teams that have gotten number one picks a lot, and I think if that pattern definitely continues with the NFL, yeah, you could definitely see where there's a flaw in it. Now, I just think that the tiebreaker scenario is just because there's so many of them. There's a lot of 5-win teams every year. There's a lot of 6-win teams every year. So there's always going to be some level of randomness with how the tiebreakers were, because especially with the draft circumstances too, you're dealing with teams out of conference too. So let's say there's, hypothetically speaking, the Falcons, the Lions, and the Jaguars, for example, all tie of 6 wins. Like that, you're not getting a conference tiebreaker, a common schedule, stuff like you would get in the season. And that's where it makes it more random too. So I don't know how much of an impact it'll necessarily have when it comes to that. Yeah, you're right. The 1-win team, like say the Texans this year, will get screwed in that case if they have to pick third or something like that. But I think there's enough teams like 4 through 10 where it might not matter as much.
It's very interesting. And again, this is the way all these leagues are starting to copycat one another. It doesn't make sense. Does it really fall in position that it's going to help the league? I think it's going to make the league worse. It's going to make teams obviously get upset about this. And these owners, I don't know how the owners would agree to this. I don't like it. I didn't like the way the NBA is making this. Look at the Knicks.
Right.
The Knicks have, year in and year out for years, they were one of the 3 or the 2 worst teams in the NBA. And honestly, they should have received at least one or 2 in the draft.
Right.
And because they didn't, and because the NBA just can't stand them, they fall to 8, they fall to 9, and they don't get anybody good, or they don't get the player that they thought they were going to get, being that they were the 2nd or 3rd worst team. And who knows if the Knicks got a top 2, top 3 player, maybe 1 or 2 years, the years that they had those bad years, maybe the Knicks aren't this bad. Maybe the Knicks are one of the powerhouses in the NBA. I don't like this. And I hope this isn't true. I hope Sean Payton is wrong about this, but something tells me he's not.
No, it definitely could happen, but you're right. If they do end up rigging it where they have all these teams that are they're just trying to save, they're just trying to make it work for them, and other teams get screwed, it's not going to be a good look for that kind of thing. Again, it's just going to be very tough. The NBA and the NHL, the drasticness is different just because of the number of games too. Like the worst team in the league sometimes is the worst team in the league by 5 games. Like in the NFL, that's not going to happen.
LeBron James attacks Jerry Jones segregation photo from like 60 years ago. Okay.
1957.
Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very nice about this because I don't want to get into this. This isn't a back and forth attack to any culture, any thought of different thoughts to racism, anti-Semitic attacks, or any of that, religious attacks, whatever. Okay. Or political attacks. LeBron James, okay, who I have spoken out about a week and a half ago, when he spoke out about Kyrie Irving, that people should forget about this, that how long does Kyrie Irving have to sit out? I mean, he's done enough. He's done, he's been through enough through the situation he's been through where he should be allowed to play. That they're taking it overboard. For him to say that, when Kyrie Irving was promoting an anti-Semitic film and in doing the things that he did on and off the court, including not apologizing to the Jewish community, which, by the way, he plays in, is disgraceful. LeBron James is an absolute joke. Personally, I think he's a fantastic basketball player. Personally, I respect what he has done in his political thoughts and helping, organizations and people go to college. I love what he's doing when it comes to that. But when he speaks about something he doesn't understand, when he speaks about protecting his own thoughts to what he believes in, to me, it's an absolutely embarrassing statement. Now, I understand that Jerry Jones was raised by, obviously he's from down south. He comes from probably a racist
I
family.
think Arkansas, where he grew
Yeah,
up,
a racist family, maybe. He was brought up that way. He was 14 years old. He was 13 years old. He's still growing up, trying to figure out who he is as a man. How could you attack him for wearing a segregation flag or
Yeah, he's
shirt?
part of a protest.
A protest? I mean, honestly, he was a kid. He was a teenager. Do I think Jerry Jones is a racist man? I don't. Do I think that Jerry Jones understood or won't or hasn't apologized for this photo to air, obviously reach to the political eye? He has. For him to, obviously LeBron James to attack him when, first of all, he has nothing to do with football, one. Number two, Jerry Jones hasn't said anything on and off the field that disrespects, African Americans or any kind of culture. He hasn't said anything. Have you heard him?
Nope.
I haven't heard anything either. Why is LeBron James speaking? How about attack your buddy over there in Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm.
How about that? How about attack your buddy in Brooklyn after he took shots about Jewish people and his anti-Semitic thoughts? Why all of a sudden you got something to say about somebody that 60 years ago was protesting something that has nothing to do with him today?
Yeah. At least do both, too. If you want to do both, attack Kyrie Irving and Jerry Jones, but don't pick one or the other. It's the same kind of thing.
No, because you want to know something? I don't know what he is thinking in his head. I'm not going to put, my own thoughts in my mind about who LeBron James is and what he believes in. But to me, it's a joke. He is a joke. And he needs to keep his mouth shut. Concentrate on the basketball court. Concentrate on your basketball team, which is almost dead last. How about that? Concentrate on what you're doing when it comes to helping the communities out. Not only for the millions and billions of dollars you're bringing in through production, your athletic shoe deals, or whatever you're doing. Okay, sticking up for China the way you have over the last couple of years because you're a superstar over there in China and you don't want anybody to speak about something that's putting you and bringing you money and burning holes in your pocket. Okay, but when it comes to an anti-Semitic film, you have nothing to say. You have nothing good to say about it. Okay, LeBron, keep your mouth shut. Concentrate on basketball. Okay, I don't want to hear it anymore. I stuck up for you. I've stuck up for everything that you believed in over the last couple of years. And then all of a sudden this thing comes out and you have your own thoughts to it. I don't understand these athletes. Concentrate on the basketball game. Concentrate on your game. Stop bringing, stories up from 60 years ago. Was Jerry Jones right? He's absolutely wrong doing what he did when he was 13 years old. He was a kid.
Yeah. And again, you sound like Kyrie Irving when you say, all right, you're gonna attack Jerry Jones of a photo from that long ago, which, yeah, it's wrong. Nobody's
100% wrong.
Nobody's defending what he did.
You don't think he's defending himself for what he did?
Right. But again, you also have to shell out blame of Kyrie Irving too. And you sound like Kyrie Irving when you say that kind of thing, because Kyrie Irving was doing the same things at his stupid press conferences. The blacks were the real Jews and stuff like that. Like, no, they're both bad. Attack them both the same or don't say anything at all.
Yeah, but you see, it's all about his buddy. It's all about, Kyrie's his buddy or Kevin Durant is his buddy. No, nobody wants to speak out for the culture that was insulted. Okay, right. It's despicable. It is an absolute disgrace. I didn't even want to talk about this again on this radio show or talk about this on the radio show. But you want to know something? I sit here today and respectfully disagree with LeBron James. Disagree. I do not blame Jerry Jones on what he did 60 years ago as a teenager. Okay, and I'm sure Jerry is upset that picture obviously hit the airwaves and social media waves. Right. I'm sure he is going to apologize from it. But to sit here and just throw this old man to the wolves because you don't like it, because you're the great LeBron James, you are a disgrace to the game of basketball, okay? You are. Play your damn basketball game, okay? That's all I care about. I want to see what you do on a basketball court. I don't want to hear about what your political thoughts are, your religious thoughts are. I don't want to hear Kyrie Irving. I don't want to hear anybody else. Play the game. Play your game. And then after the season, then we could talk about your religious political thoughts when it means nothing. Nothing to anybody. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to talk about it anymore. The Yankees and the Giants are 50-50 on landing Aaron Judge. Now, I think it's just between the Yankees and the Giants now. I think Aaron's behind, between these two teams. A lot of people believe that Aaron wants to go home. His family lives in the Bay Area. He was raised in the Bay Area. He grew up a San Francisco Giants fan. He grew up, obviously, a Barry Bonds fan. It's going to be very, very hard for the Giants to pry Aaron Judge away from the Yankees. I think, and I think the Yankees are a little crazy if they're going to overpay him because they don't want to lose him. But I can't see a Steinbrenner family losing their guy that they drafted years and years ago, took the time, built him up in the farm system, and then brought him up for the last 5 years, and he's become one of the better players in the MLB. I can't see it. If they lose him, that is not Steinbrenner-like. That's not something they do when they have a star of this magnitude. Everybody's going to say, well, what about Robinson Cano? Robinson Cano is not the same player Aaron Judge is. He's not. Now, Robinson Cano was one of the best second basemen in the league. Maybe the Yankees knew that he was on steroids. I don't know. But something tells me they probably did. And they just wanted to unleash or release the facts that were going to come out from this organization after dealing with Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's something more entailed into it that didn't make any sense on why they decided to take Jacoby Ellsbury over Robinson Cano. Were they right about both, one or the other? They both sucked, okay? But nevertheless, Robinson Cano was part of their organization. They drafted Robinson Cano. Jacoby Ellsbury was a complete bust and probably the worst move that Brian Cashman has ever done as a Yankee GM.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think the Yankees want to lose him. I think they're going to do everything they possibly can to keep him. Do I think they're wrong about this? Only time will tell. If I was the Yankees GM, I'd let him go. I let him go to San Francisco. I'd sit back. I'd try to build around youth, see what my youth is, and then wait until next year. And if my youth isn't good enough, we go after Ohtani, Soto, or maybe both of them. That makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. Save the money this offseason. If you want to add a pitcher, which I've heard they say that they're going to, and maybe a relief pitcher here and a relief pitcher there. Their bullpen, if they stay healthy this year, it's a pretty good bullpen.
Or even a trade, too.
Yeah.
A guy that has an expiring contract.
Yeah.
Just to get depth so they can make the money work. And that's what they'll have to do if they bring in Aaron Judge for that amount of money.
Yeah, I just think it's a crazy move by the Yankees. But again, it's their guy. So I think it's more 60-40 Yankees. That's where I think it is. I think the Yankees are waiting to see what San Francisco is offering them. I think Aaron Judge is sitting back. He's going to wait until the holidays is over, or maybe a week before the holidays.
That's what I'm thinking.
And announce that he is going to go here or there. And then all of the floodgates are going to open up for the MLB. Right. That's what I think is going to happen.
Because I also think you're looking at next week starts the official winter meetings too, which there's going to be some kind of process within that too. Aaron Judge wants the money. He's going to want to entice a bidding war, and you never know what these other teams are going to get involved into. It might be 50-50 Giants and the Yankees. And yeah, that's probably going to be the case. I would give them that probability as well, where the rest of the field is probably like a 2 or 3% chance type thing. But Aaron Judge is going to want the money. This is his last contract, whether he gets it as a 5-year and $45 a year, or he gets it as an 8-year and the $330 million. Something like that. He's going to want to entice some kind of bidding war. I would probably say it's more 60-40 Giants, which is fine. But again, it's a tight percentage as it is between those two teams because the Yankees And Randy Levine have said that they're not going to get outbid that easily.
No, and I think that San Francisco is going to offer him the most money, but I think with the way Aaron Judge is, the Yankees aren't going to get a discount, but I think he's going to decide where he wants to be and where the fan base or who he sees himself to finish his career playing for. I think the Yankee fans have really given him a lot of, abuse in the playoffs because he couldn't hit in the playoffs. But nevertheless, the Yankees and the fans really adore him here in New York. And I think he knows that. And I think one way or another, he is going to decide to stay. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes San Francisco, but something tells me I think he's just waiting to announce where I think he already knows where he's going. I really do believe it. I think he's just sitting back, with him and his family, waiting closer to the holidays and saying, you know what, let's announce it now and let's get it over with.
That's what I'm thinking too. Probably maybe after the holidays or something like that. It could be
either after the holidays or before the holidays.
Okay.
That's where I think it's going to be. And winter meetings start very soon.
Yeah, next week, I think on Tuesday or something like that.
So there's a lot of interesting thoughts to where Aaron Judge is going to sign. I think all the floodgates will open up when that happens. By the way, Tampa makes their biggest move in a very long time. The Tampa Bay Rays add Zach Eflin. Reach an agreement, 3 years, $40 million, which is the biggest contract they've given up to a free agent in history, which is crazy.
Wow.
$40 million to a free agent.
Yeah.
Not their own player.
No, I know.
Free agent.
No, I know, because they just gave Wander Franco that big contract. So, yeah, that would be the biggest one, I think, of all time for the Rays franchise history.
Largest free agent contract from the Rays in history.
Wow, it's weird to think that would be like a $16 million per year or something like that. Or
how good is this guy?
He's been a good hybrid reliever starter type. He was a back end of the Phillies rotation for the last few years, but again, once they got Kyle Gibson, they traded for Noah Syndergaard. There was really no spot for him at that point this year, so they used him out of the bullpen a lot this year, where he strived. That was a big reason the Phillies bullpen was able to turn it around, because he was doing a lot in those middle innings. And Kevin Cash, he loves to be very creative with those pitchers too. He's going to use him in that kind of role too. So the Rays are going to trust that they can rebirth him. They've done very well with pitching, just really a pitching factory between their own pitchers and guys that didn't get their chances all the time, because he was brought up as a starter too. So he can pitch at every role. And that's what the Rays love.
By the way, another story, Michigan running back Blake Corum to undergo knee surgery.
Yeah, for the year.
So he's out for the year. He Heisman Trophy candidate. Still can win the Heisman. I still think he's capable of winning the Heisman. He's only missing one game.
Right.
But that sucks for Michigan because they need him for that playoff.
Yep.
He's one of their big offensive, players. And obviously I think he's going to the draft this year. Am I not mistaken?
I think so. I am not 100% sure, but again, Alpha's kind of injury too. He might want to play one more year. I don't know. It's tough to tell.
I don't think so.
I think he's eligible though this year.
I think he is eligible.
So yeah, again,
I don't think he's no. This is his third year. He's eligible.
Okay, yeah, he's eligible.
He's eligible. So I can't see him going to play another year. I mean, he's had a breakout year, 11 touchdowns, 1,228 yards. He's one of the best running backs in the country.
Yeah.
Why would he play another year when he has a chance to a knee surgery? That's not going to hurt him. That's not, I don't think it's a major. I don't think it's an ACL tear. So it doesn't.
Yeah, it'll depend on how he comes back with the combine too, and it might not hurt his stock too badly. The running back stock's already fallen in the league just as it is. So.
It doesn't say what kind of surgery it is, but I don't think it's a major like ACL tear. I think it's more of a meniscus or something like that.
That's what I was hearing that the announcers were saying during the Ohio State Michigan game was that's what he was holding.
And that's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. He'll be fine. He'll be ready for the combine. He'll be ready for everything. I think he'll be fine. So
it's just a tricky market with running backs just as it is, because they don't get
somebody
anymore.
I'm telling you, the Buffalo Bills get their hands on this kid. Forget it. I mean, they need a running back. This guy's a star running back. He is. And he's going somewhere, even if it's in the second round, early second round.
That's what I'm thinking.
Somebody's going to draft this kid, and this kid's going to be a star. He's a stud. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm not surprised, but crazy story, by the way. It really hurts Michigan's chances of winning a national championship.
Right.
So there you go. We have the United States soccer team. Yes, I have to announce this. The round of 16 Saturday against the Netherlands. They have a chance to really, station themselves as a world power if somehow they come out beating the Netherlands on Saturday morning. I think it's Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's a 10 a.m. game.
So
the time zone differences, they've scheduled a lot more really early in the morning, which I don't remember them doing in the last one, despite it being in Russia, which is very similar time zone wise to Qatar. I think they're only one time zone apart, but still, yeah, a lot of the morning games too. But they played the Netherlands in, I think, the round of 8 or 16, whatever the last one was, in 2014 too, and they played them close. The Netherlands have been consistently a top 4 and top 8 team the last 3, so it's going to be a very tough test.
Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills win tonight against the Patriots. Absolutely tortured the Patriots. I think the Patriots are done. Okay. As far as the playoffs are concerned, losing this game, this is a big game. And everybody keeps talking about the Jets and 7 of the fact that the Patriots are 6-6. I mean, the Jets are 7-4. The Jets have to lose 2 games for the Patriots to even come close to sneaking into the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not the Jets. It's not only the Jets they have to worry about too. It's the Chargers too.
And by the way, you see Josh Allen. He's doing an interview with wearing a Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey.
Nice.
What
a guy.
I like Josh Allen. I really do. I think he's a special player. I think he's a great talent. I do believe he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, and was an MVP candidate. The last couple of weeks have kind of pushed him out.
Yeah, the turnovers.
It's definitely not going to be him this year. I think it's between Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and who would be
Tua would probably be the next
Tua,
guy.
yeah, I think those are the 3
Tua
guys.
also missed 2 games too, so that doesn't help him.
I think it's Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes.
Probably,
and I think it's Jalen Hurts right now. If you were to ask me who the MVP of the league is, it's Jalen Hurts. He's played hurt. He's really been the best. He's been on the best team in the NFL, and he's one of the reasons why they're the best team in the NFL.
The only thing that might hurt his case is the running back have gotten a lot of touchdowns and stolen a lot of his red zone touchdowns.
I don't think it matters after what he ran last week. So,
150 and a half.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, the guy has been unbelievable. Because he's on your fantasy team.
But 2 of my fantasy teams, and he had 150 rushing yards in the first half with 150 passing yards. He's the first one in NFL history to do that in a half.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's turned out to be some player. I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, you have yourself a fantastic young team with arguably one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL running your organization now. It's fun. It's fun to watch. Nobody can sit here and tell me that Jalen Hurts isn't a quality quarterback in this league. And if you do, then you don't know what you're watching, okay? Because this kid is fun to watch. He's exciting. He plays hurt. He's one of the strongest quarterbacks in the league. I heard he squats like 600.
Wow.
I mean, the guy is unbelievable. And will the Eagles be looking for a quarterback in the offseason? Please do, because as a Jet fan, I would love Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Anyone would. I think there's a lot of teams that would trade their quarterback for Jalen Hurts right now, the way he's played.
So I don't care. I don't care if you think you need a quarterback. I mean, let Joe Douglas knock on a door with Rosen, and they're very good friends. I think the Jets would absolutely adore bringing in a Jalen Hurts to this team. To me, there's no way they're letting him go, and there's no way they're going to be looking for a quarterback. Expect Anderson, if he's sitting there at 3, that's where they go. Could you imagine?
Unless the Seahawks draft him first, because they could draft with the Broncos pick him number 2.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Anderson and Jordan Davis on the same line for the next 15 years?
That'd be a bunch of nightmares for Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas. That's for sure.
I mean, especially, definitely in the Giants division, seeing them twice a year. I mean, that's scary. I mean,
come on,
really.
Saints, get some wins.
We'll see. They got to win this week, and guess who they're playing?
Yeah, they're playing the Buccaneers.
That's right, Tom Brady and the Bucs, who lost last week against the Browns.
Which, by the way, I got the score pick exactly right.
I did. I got the Buccaneers last week, unfortunately. Kills me, baby. Kills me. Anyways. So, Speedy, you ready to go through our picks?
All right, let's go through our picks. No Derek this week. He is busy with some
Shout
work.
out to Mr. Mountain.
Yes. But we do have
keep studying, baby.
But we do have his picks that I will reveal before my picks for each of these games for that. So you had the Bills tonight, I'm assuming?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. So yeah, I had the Bills. I had them 27-17 and ended up finishing 24-10.
I had the Bills 27-20.
Okay. All right, we'll start with the battle of the Wildcats, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. The Lions 1-point favorites in this one. Derek has the Jaguars in this one, and I'm agreeing with him. I'm going to take the Jaguars as well. I like their receiving core matchup against the secondary of the Lions, with Okudah still hurt, or Awanwaye still hurt. Okudah's been playing hurt a lot of the time, but their secondary depth has not been as good. ETN, we'll see if he plays, but Jermichael Hasty did look good last week. The Lions still with Swift not being 100% healthy too, that could hurt them as well. So I'll take the Jaguars. I think they win it close. High scoring game, 34-31.
I like what I've seen with the Lions. I really like them at home. Yes, they're fighting injuries. So are the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Jacksonville, going into Detroit, traveling to Detroit, I mean, it's still a pretty deep distance. And I just think Detroit has played well every single week. They've been in every single game. They're a fun team to watch, and I think Campbell has them playing. So I have Detroit winning this game. I think it'll be close, 20-14.
All right, next game, the Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. The Commanders are 2-point favorites in this one. Derek has the Commanders in this one. I'm going to take my team here. I'll take the Giants. I've picked against them a lot, but this, I think, is a too hot for Washington. I think they're due to lose at some point. They've been 1-6 of their last 7 games. Giants had a long week coming off the loss against the Cowboys. They get a little healthier. Evan Neal's coming back. Azeez Ojulari might come back this week as well. And I think the Giants secondary has played, even though they didn't play great against the Cowboys, I think they've still played better amidst all those injuries. And I think they'll be able to run Washington, but I think the Giants will be able to just do a little more in this game. I think it'll be close, low scoring, 20-17.
This game is so very interesting, and I know Washington's played so well the last couple of weeks. They're fun, and obviously the secondary for the Giants don't really scare me, especially losing Jackson for a significant amount of time. But I have the Giants in this game. They're the home team. They need this game. They need a divisional game. And I think Saquon Barkley is going to be able to run against this defense. This defense, which has played in the last 4 weeks, one of the better defenses in the league. I think that there's a lot of deficiencies, especially when they're when it comes to run stopping. So I got the Giants 20-17.
All right, next game, the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. It seems like Aaron Rodgers is playing, even though Matt LaFleur was saying things about shutting him down. It seems like he's going to play, at least in this game.
My 2 quarterbacks playing against one another. I don't know who to start.
You should still start Fields. Jalen Hurts just ran for 150 yards. Justin Fields could probably do something like that. I would definitely start Fields in that one. But Derek has the Packers in this one. I have the Packers as well. I do think this is a high-scoring game because the Bears' defense has just been pathetic, and after trading Quinn and Roquan Smith have just barely got any pressure on the quarterback. Their secondary is all very young, and even though the Packers' receivers aren't great, I think Christian Watson just has a big game, and Aaron Jones does the rest.
Christian Watson's been a fantastic player. He's becoming a star right in front of our eyes, and if it's not Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball for the next year or so, it will be Jordan Love. This guy is fun, but yeah, I got Green Bay in this game. I can't see the Bears winning this game. I don't know where I go with the quarterbacks because I think both of them could have good games. Aaron Rodgers has killed Chicago over the years, home, away. It doesn't matter where it is. He's been their daddy, as we remember him saying.
Yes.
But maybe this could be a surprise game for Justin Fields and keep this team in. He has to stay healthy. He has to start throwing the ball, like Pete Bercich said. Stop running the ball, protect his body more. He's not going to be in this league long enough. But I've got Green Bay in this game. I think it'll be close, 27-24.
Okay, mine was 34-31 Green Bay. All right, speaking of Pete Bercich, here it comes, the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings. You ready for this? Derek actually picked the Jets in this one.
Oh, Derek, why did you do this to me?
Oh, boy. Well, now the Vikings are going to win, which I had anyway. I have the Vikings winning this game. I think
Derek, why did you do this to me?
Oh, Derek, I'm actually surprised. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. He's hoping the Eagles will clinch the number 1 seed. I don't know. We'll have to find out his reasoning next week. But I do have the Vikings in this week for exactly what Pete was talking about. I think a lot of those other spread formations that we've seen with them use with TJ Hawkins, I do think he will be an impact player in this game. Yeah, you mentioned, the Jets might choose sauce on him in the red zone, but I think before that, the Jets are going to be harder for a smaller Michael Carter to be able to use him in those bunch formations. I like Dalvin Cook as a pass catching back in this one. And Sauce and Jefferson will have their battle. I don't think Sauce is going to completely shut him down. Jefferson, in addition to getting all those tough catches, made some catches in double coverage too, which have been insane too. And the Jets, they have Garrett Wilson, I think, a nice game, but I don't know if they have enough deep threats to be able to attack the rest of the Vikings secondary. And that pass rush is still very good. So I'll take the Vikings in a close one here, 24-17.
This is a statement game for the New York Jets. I believe Quentin Williams is going to play a big part defensively in this game. There's been some problems, especially up the middle, especially against the Cowboys by the Minnesota Vikings. And to me, Justin Jefferson has been a lonesome dove. He's been the guy. Thielen, he shows up, he doesn't show up. And Dalvin Cook, I don't know what he is. This year, he is not the same player he once was. Maybe they just decided not to run the ball and just throw the ball. And as our friend Pete has said, they're going to throw more than they're going to run the ball, which doesn't bode well against the Jets because they have arguably the best corner trio in all of football. I believe the Jets are going to win this game. I believe the Jets are going to stay close in this game. It's going to be all about Mike White. And if the Jets could run the ball on the seams, I believe they will. I think they'll control the ball in the fourth quarter and win a game very, very close. Give me the Jets, 21-17.
All right, next game, the return of Deshaun Watson to Houston. The Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. The Browns are 7-point favorites in this one. Derek has Cleveland in this one, and I have Cleveland in this one too. But I here's the disclaimer. I think it'll be more with the running game, though. I don't think it's because Watson will play great. I think he's still a little rusty. That Texans secondary has been very good this year, but their run defense has just been god-awful. This is going to be a big game for Nick Chubb. I know your fantasy team will love that. Mm-hmm. And Kareem Hunt, I think, even plays well in this game too. He's had a rough season in comparison to his standards, but I think you can even see Watson run a little bit too, but I don't think his throwing will be back completely yet. I think he'll still be a little rusty, but the Browns do enough to win this game. I'll say 24-14.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns, and I say Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns because it's his show. He doesn't want to speak about anything that's happened and why he missed practically the whole season. All he wants to do is prove himself on the field and wait until next year where he has a lot to prove because I believe Cleveland is going to be that much better than most teams in their division next year. This guy is fun of a player to watch on the field, not so fun off the field. The Houston Texans, his old team, this is a perfect game to come back and play against, going back to Houston and really for all the stupidity that he's done in and out of the facilities. Why not go into the facilities and put up a 40? I think he does. I think this team is so much better with Deshaun Watson than without him. Give me Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns 44-20.
Wow, that's quite a revenge game. Speaking of revenge game, A.J. Brown against his former team, the Tennessee Titans. And if you were shocked about Derek picking the Jets, he also picked against the Eagles. Derek is taking the Titans in this one. Now, here's the thing. I actually am too. I was hoping he would come on. I thought he would be shocked that I would take the Titans, but I'm actually taking the Titans because here's the thing. A lot of times when you have these players returning their former teams against a team with a good coach, usually the advantage goes to the coach in this one. I think Mike Vrabel will know how to game plan for A.J. Brown. And also, I think that defense is going to make it harder for Jalen Hurts to run there. An outside rushing defense, they've done well against running quarterbacks, but usually those types of matchups usually go to the coaches. And I think that'll make it harder for Jalen Hurts. They'll have to spread the ball around more. And the Eagles in certain games have had trouble stopping the run too. So I think Derrick Henry plays well. Even Dontrell Hilliard, I could see having a nice game. I'll take Tennessee 23-20.
Not a chance in hell. This is the Eagles game to win and not lose. I think Jalen Hurts is going to run all over this defense. I think that this team and the prolific offense that they have, it doesn't have to be through A.J. Brown. They have Smith. They have weapons. And this defense is as good a defense as the Tennessee Titans, if not better. The offensive line is going to be able to protect Jalen Hurts, and he's going to pick them apart. Give me the beautiful flying packed Philadelphia Eagles this weekend as they win 24-17.
So which are you more shocked about, him picking the Jets or him picking against the Eagles?
Every time, listen, I didn't want him to pick the Jets because it's a jinx, but I still think the Jets are going to win even when he picks it. So,
all right.
There you go.
All right. The Atlanta Falcons hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Derek has Atlanta in this one. I would agree with that. I'll take the Falcons in this one. The Falcons, I thought even losing last week, outplayed the Commanders. Their rushing attack was still very good with Cordero Patterson, and I think they were able to spread the ball around nicely. Drake London did well against a tough secondary. And Najee Harris, not 100% for the Steelers, is going to hurt them, and Atlanta getting AJ Terrell back, I think will help to contain those receivers. So I'll take the Falcons in this one, 27-20.
Yeah, I like the Falcons, home team. I like what they've done so far this year. I've been picking against them the last couple of weeks, but something tells me that Atlanta is going to show up in this game. Pittsburgh is still rebuilding. Nothing scares me on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. No, I like their quarterback. He's young. He's a little bold. I think he needs to get some weapons over there, and when he does, I think he's going to be fun to watch. I also like George Pickens. He's played very well this year. He's fun. They're a fun young team. Still need a lot to rebuild. I like Atlanta in this game. Give me Atlanta 17-10.
All right. The last of the 1 o'clock games, the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Denver Broncos at what might be the easiest under of all time. Derek has the Ravens in this one, and I have the Ravens easily. I'm not picking the Broncos against that defense. Good luck with that. I know they've blown fourth quarter leads, but you can't blow a fourth quarter lead if you don't have a clock that doesn't know a coach that doesn't know how to manage the clock. So there's no problems in this game. I think the Ravens run the ball well, and they win it easily, 20-10.
Baltimore's at home. Baltimore's hard to beat at home. Lamar Jackson's is not easy to stop. They don't have much of a pass rush in the last couple of weeks, Denver. They're not the same team they were in the beginning of the season defensively. They're fighting a lot of injury, and let's be honest, Russell Wilson is an absolute bust this year. I still think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback in this league. They need to find a coach that can help him develop the skills that he needs to succeed over there in Denver. It's not even close. Give me Baltimore in this game, 24-14.
All right, on to the 4 o'clock games. We'll start with the ugly one, the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. Derek has Seattle in this one. I have the Seahawks in this one as well. This would be like one of those old school ones that are just very sloppy. I think you're going to see a lot of mistakes, a lot of special teams wackiness.
Who the hell is the LA Rams quarterback?
Bryce Perkins, the dual threat guy of Virginia.
Congratulations.
Who was they made the ACC championship game with him, but yeah, not much.
He looked wonderful last week.
Not much as an NFL quarterback. That being said, their defense has still been tough. I think Bobby Wagner will have a good game against his former team. Talk about revenge games, but Seattle ultimately wins this. I think it's an ugly game. I'm going to take them 19-13.
I think this game is an absolute blowout. Okay, I don't care if it's in LA. Seattle's just that much better of a team. They didn't look that good last week, but Seattle's going to go into LA and they're going to completely zipper the mouths of Sean McVay and that team of just goons. I'm just kidding, by the way. They're not goons, but nevertheless, the Super Bowl champions are going to be Super Bowl out. Seattle wins the game. Geno Smith has a pretty big game. Their corners have not played up to par. I don't know what's going on with Jalen Ramsey. He's just not the same corner he once was, making a lot of money. We haven't heard him yap all season long. I'm surprised because the defense absolutely sucks. So give me Seattle in this game. I don't think it's close. 30-14.
All right. Next game, the LA Chargers against the real team of LA, the Raiders. Damn it, Derek, you stole my upset. Derek has the Raiders. I'm taking it too. I'm going with the upset here. The Chargers defense has continued to struggle. And the Raiders offense has actually picked it up the last couple of weeks too. You saw them do very well against Seattle
the Raiders
last
win
week.
as a Jets.
Yeah, Seattle looked, they did very well, 40 points in overtime in that win. They played well against the Jaguars. They played well against the Broncos too, who have a tough defense. They won that game in overtime. And the Chargers defense really has not been the same without Joey Bosa and a lot of the injuries they've had up front and the injury to J.C. Jackson too. Now the Chargers offense will keep them in it. I think both these running backs have a big game.
Isn't Bosa coming back next week?
Next week, but I don't think this week. So that's going to make it hard. I think Eckler has a good game. I think the receivers will do well, but Mike Williams still out. I think will hurt them enough. And these games are always close between the Chargers and the Raiders. I think the Raiders get this one this time, 31-27.
I feel bad for Khalil Mack. I really do. I mean, he's the lonesome dove to this defensive line, the only decent player that really has shown up week in and week out. I like Derwin James, but I don't know. He doesn't look healthy. He really doesn't. This defense doesn't look healthy. But I still think with the Chargers, they need this game really, really bad. And the Raiders are done. They're not making the playoffs. They're not. I think the Chargers show up in this game. I like Justin Herbert. I think he's a fun player to watch. Eckler will be able to run against this defense. This defense is not good whatsoever. I think the Chargers win this game. I think it'll be close. Chargers win. 24-15.
All right, you want to go for a revenge game? There's been a lot of bad-mouthing this week between the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers, Raheem Mostert.
This is the best game of the
Jeff
week.
Wilson, and Trent Sherfield, all were taking inadvertent shots at Jimmy G.
The two big games this week, San Francisco and Miami, and the Jets in Minnesota. And it's so fitting because it's the Jets in Miami fighting for, a playoff spot.
That's right. But all those guys taking shots at Jimmy G, definitely creating some beef over there. San Francisco, obviously, with a lot of the ex-coaches now in Miami. Definitely a lot of tension going on. Derek has the Niners in this one. I have the Niners in this one as well. I think this is going to be a tougher matchup for the Dolphins' run game because, for one thing, they know Mostert and Wilson very well. That's for one. And I usually give the advantage to the coaching. DeMeco Ryans has done a great job this year. And two, that beef in that interior offensive line for San Francisco, I think will make it tougher on Tua, too. They'll be able to shut down one receiver, not both. And then the Niners, I think, will be able to use a lot of motion against some older corners for the Dolphins. So give me the Niners in this one, 27-21.
I really want to go with Miami in this game, but I'm rooting against them because I'm a Jet fan, and I want Miami to lose. Buffalo won today, so that doesn't bode well. But, hey, Patriots lost, so this is good. And I know you guys picked Vegas, and the Chargers would be great for the Jets, too. So I hope those teams lose, even though I've picked them to win. But this is all about beating you guys. So I got San Francisco in this game as well. I think they're the home team. That benefits them. Tyreek Hill and Waddle do scare me. Tua does scare me in an offense, the way they play and like to run the ball the way they do. But, yeah, San Francisco is a high-flying defense. I think they'll be able to contain the prolific offense of Tua and win the game. It will be close. 24-20.
All right. There's another one that could be one of those games of the week types. The Chiefs at the Bengals.
This game is ridiculous.
Derek has the Chiefs in this one. This one, I actually am going to take the Bengals in this one. I have more trust in
the Bengals need to win this game.
I have a lot of trust in their defense, the way these matchups work. They have bigger corners against the Chiefs' smaller receivers. I think that'll help be able to press them physically. They can stop the run, the Bengals. Not that the Chiefs run the ball well anyway, but they can rush the passer too. And offensively, they might get Jamar Chase back too, who owned the Chiefs in the 2 games last year. And even if he's limited, that's still a big weapon to have. I think Tyler Boyd is a nice game as well. And I think the Bengals, at home, they know how to play the Chiefs. They've been a kryptonite to them the last 2 games. So I'll take them in this one, 23-20.
How could Sunday Night Football have Dallas and Indianapolis?
They can only flex so many games.
They need to flex that game. I can't believe they didn't. Who wants to watch Sunday Night Football? I mean, seriously. Dallas is going to kick the living you-know-what out of Indianapolis unless Dak Prescott loses a leg. Okay, that's ridiculous.
Now you sound like Jeff.
It's true, man. It's true. Yeah, I know a lot of people. I would think that the Bengals are going to win this game. They won last year when they played against one another in the regular season because of a field goal. I don't think it's going to be that close in this game. Jamar Chase might be back this week. There's a good chance that he could be. He's been back and forth, on the field. Some people say he could be back. It doesn't matter. Kansas City wins this game. They're the better team. To me, the prolific offense. Patrick Mahomes is not going to be stopped. Hendrickson is not 100% healthy. All season, he hasn't been 100% healthy. This pass rush hasn't been 100% healthy. And that, really sends me that antenna burst in my head to tell me that Kansas City will win this game. Kansas City wins the game. It will be close, 28-27.
All right. And that aforementioned Sunday Night Football
It's 1
game.
point, boys and girls. 1 point.
Colts, Cowboys. Derek has the Cowboys. Yeah, I have the Cowboys too. The Colts defense has been good and better, a little better in recent weeks, but yeah, there's too much.
It's not even close. We shouldn't even be talking about
There's too much firepower, and
we shouldn't be talking about it.
I don't know what accent you're going for that, but all right. Yeah, Cowboys win this game 24-13.
Yeah, I have the Cowboys. I think this is a complete blowout. This is a fun game. This is a smile on Jerry Jones's face with dealing with LeBron James's bull crap. Really, I mean, going into this game, this puts a little star on his helmet. But yeah, give me the Cowboys. This game is a blowout, 32-14.
All right, and Monday Night Football, the Saints at the Buccaneers.
Come on, we know the answer to this.
No, I'm taking the Saints. I'm actually going with the upset.
You're an idiot.
I'm going with the upset. They get Marshawn Lattimore back, which I think their defense is hurt. Well, it matters to shut down Mike Evans, and I think
it's not going to happen.
I think they'll do a little better with Godwin in this game, and I don't like the Bucs defense. I got the Saints 16-13. Derek has the Bucs.
I have the Bucs. There's no way Tom Brady loses 2 games in a row. He's lost, back-to-back games one time this year. I don't see it again. This is the Buccaneers' game to win. Their home team, I think they need to figure out what's going on with that offensive line. But all in all, I think Tom Brady is going to show up in this game. It will be close. The Saints aren't the same defense they are as they are at home. They're going to have problems with this offense because, it's still the Buccaneers and it's still Tom Brady. He's thrown, 2 interceptions to 14 touchdowns. The guy doesn't throw interceptions, and that's where the Saints like to dominate. There won't be any interceptions in this game. The Buccaneers win this game 24-14.
All right, and that will do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great show, by the way. Really is. And I will say this. And I'm going to say this because I'm a fair guy and I'm a sports fan. When you're a part of an organization and you're a star for that organization, being the NBA, the NHL, the MLB, or the NFL, or the NHL, whatever it is, or the UFC, okay? Big organizations, multi-billion dollar organizations. And you open your mouth and you say things that has nothing to do with what you're doing in your sport. I understand this is a platform that you can promote yourself and promote your beliefs, your cultures, your politics, your religion, whatever you guys, whatever floats your boat, your sexuality, okay? Whatever floats your boat. But when you, as a player, is a leader for that team and that organization is not playing well, why are you speaking? Why do you talk? There is no reason why any athlete, multi-millionaire, some multi-billionaires, should be speaking for any other player in the league, should be speaking about anything they dislike, off and on, off the field, or off the court, or off the ice that you represent, when it comes to your sport. Nobody should be speaking about any of that, especially in the middle of the season. There's too much in stake for your organization, your team, and you're making millions and millions of dollars. And those owners are paying you a lot of money. Not for you to speak, for your brand, for what you could do on the court, on the field, on the ice. So I ask all these stars from respectable leagues, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, to the NBA, the Greek Freak, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, to the NHL, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Barzell, to the baseball world, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Juan Soto. Notice that I've named stars in respectable leagues, okay? What I'm trying to say here for all you guys and all the people out there that is listening to us at 11:51 Eastern Time p.m., almost in the morning, to support one another, support your league, support your beliefs, but do not do it in the middle of a season. Do not make that story bigger than what's going on in the league, your team, and the organization as a whole. Because when you do that, and you open your mouth because you're trying to promote your product, your brand, your specific thoughts to the world, it hurts whatever is going on for the league and where the league is going that particular year. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm disgusted with what's going on in professional sports. We as analysts, we as fans want to watch the sport to get away from everything that's going on in the world, from family life to politics to religion to our taxes that are just completely stealing people's, the politicians stealing from us. And when this and that go on in the world, that just throw me off on where I am as, I'm not a parent yet, but as an American, as a free man in this world, and I could do whatever I want, and I could say whatever I want in a country that protects me. When you hear something like that, or all these different things from these athletes that are not helping anything by opening their mouths off the court or wherever the respectable sports are, it affects not only their teams and their organization, it affects the fans, the young kids that look up to them. And that is the truth. And that is what I'm selling to the fans. It bothers me. It hurts me. It's a disgrace when you hear players talk about things that they know nothing about, watching films that they know nothing about, speaking about religions they know nothing about, politics that they think they know about, which they don't. It doesn't help me analyzing what is going on in the world away from those disgraceful thoughts. It only brings me in to talk about it and make myself look stupider after I talk about it. So that's all I'm going to say. That's my statement. I had a little bit of time to really bring it in and really look at the way I look at it as just as a fan. I don't think anybody should be promoting racism, anti-Semitic thoughts, hurting and attacking somebody's sexuality, taking and attacking females because they're getting the bigger and better jobs out there. We are equals in this country, no matter what we believe in or who we follow. And sports brings us together. That's facts. It brings me together. It brings all of us together. And I like to have fun with everybody. But what bothers me more than anything is when I sit here and I speak about these athletes that I've come to respect and I stick up for personally. And then I hear what they're saying on and off the courts or believing what they believe on and off the courts. It is a disgrace. How could I look up to these guys anymore when they're taking shots at a religion or a bunch of people that did nothing to you? Or you say they did because they run the country or whatever the heck you believe in. Not everybody is bad. Now, when you listen to this show, some people probably think I'm an ass. And some people will say you're funny, outgoing, and ridiculous. And then just some people say, you're all right. I respect all the criticism I get. You know why? Because that's what makes me me. I'm different than you. I'm different than Speedy. I'm different than LeBron James, Sean Payton, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. I am a different breed of person. why I sit here today and I entertain everybody, listening or not listening, win or lose for what I'm saying. I'm doing it because I love it. I'm doing it because I want to entertain people, and I want people to see it the way I see it. And if they don't, good. I don't care. But just understand that this world is we're trying to bring people together. We're trying to bring everything together and work as one. And when you have so much, not just in sports, but what's going on in the world, and you have wars going on in Russia and different countries and self-destructing from different country to different country because of power. We live in a country of freedom. We live in a country of thought. We live in a country of togetherness. And we should be as one. That's all I'm going to say about that. I want to thank Pete Bercich for joining us. He was fantastic. Obviously, ex-Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network analyst. Also, I'd like to thank NFL Network newsroom ticker and operator and writer Brendan Walker. He's fantastic. Fantastic show. Speedy it was great. And I mean, you could cut out what I said, or you can listen to what, and maybe Speedy can cut it out and put it and post it up on social media so they can hear my thoughts to it. That rant was 13 minutes of my feelings of what's going on in the world and how people are using sports to promote their own legacy, their own crap that means nothing to the game of football, basketball, hockey, mixed martial arts, anything that we follow. It's time for everybody to open up their eyes and see what really is in front of us. That's togetherness, love, emotion, and end the hatred in this world. That's how I feel. We'll be back on Tuesday. Yes, our show will be Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday, it will be at 9 o'clock. Wednesday, it will be at 7 p.m. So definitely stay tuned. We really appreciate all the fans out there that tune in to us throughout the week. We will be going to a fun event on Saturday. I want to give a shout out to the Franchella family for inviting us. We're very excited to go to Westchester and support everything that's going on with their organization. So I'm sorry. I'm getting better, hopefully. Starlight Entertainment, all the stuff that they're doing over there, we're very excited. We'll be doing a live show over there. So if you want to come and meet us, go to SUNY Purchase. There are tickets still available. So we're excited. Anyways, listen to the Weekend Crunch. It will be on live this week.
Normal time, 7 o'clock this week.
7 o'clock. I'm dying over here. It's been long, man. I don't know how I lasted this long with no coughing, but happy to be here. Thank you to the fans, and we'll be back next week. Good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.